Naruto, get stronger by hanging up. Chapter 41. Just as Sakura was scolding Naruto, a machete flew over from a distance. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The machete came through the wind at a very fast speed. Kakashi immediately shouted, "Everyone get down." Although everyone hadn't figured out what it was for. But they all got down. The machete passed over everyone's heads and chopped on a big tree. The next moment, a ninja wearing a forehead protector from the hidden mist village stood on the machete with his back to the people. Everyone looked at the ninja who suddenly appeared on the machete with confusion and panic. Kakashi stood in front of everyone and looked at the ninja on the tree. His face was a little solemn. It turned out to be Zabuza Momochi, the rebel ninja from the hidden mist village. It seems that it will be very troublesome next. When Naruto, who was standing behind Kakashi, saw Zabuza, he drew out his kunai and shouted and rushed towards Zabuza. Finally appeared, "This time I will not lose to Sasuke and Yu again." Naruto was very dissatisfied with his performance before. Now seeing Zabuza, he felt that it was his chance to show off. He shouted and rushed towards Zabuza. But Kakashi stopped him and said in a serious tone, "Don't get in the way, he is not a ninja you can deal with." Naruto frowned and said dissatisfiedly, "Teacher Kakashi, I will definitely not be the same as before this time." Kakashi frowned. Zabuza is an elite jonin, not two ordinary chunins. Even he has to deal with it carefully, and he may die if he is not careful. When Zabuza in the tree saw Kakashi, his expression froze. It turned out to be Sharingan Hitaki Kakashi. No wonder those two brothers did not succeed. When Sasuke heard what Zabuza said, he was stunned. Sharingan. Does Kakashi have Sharingan? You know, since the Uchiha clan was destroyed, Sasuke thought that he was the only Uchiha clan member left in Konoha. Sakura didn't know what Sharingan was. Because Sasuke had never shown it in front of her. Sharingan, what is Sharingan? Naruto also asked Kakashi, "Teacher Kakashi, what is Sharingan?" Kakashi didn't speak, and Sasuke on the side explained, "Sharingan is a kind of eye technique that can see through ninjutsu, illusion, and physical technique." Zabuza on the tree glanced at Sasuke and added, "Yes, Sharingan is such an eye, and Sharingan can also copy the opponent's ninjutsu." Hitaki Kakashi, when I was still in the hidden mist village, there was your information on the ninja manual I distributed. Copy ninja, Kakashi, a dangerous person who can copy thousands of ninjas. Sakura and Naruto were stunned when they heard what Zabuza said. Although Yu said Kakashi was very strong before, they still didn't have an intuitive concept. Now Zabuza's words made them deeply aware of Kakashi's strength. Sakura was stunned. It turns out that Kakashi teacher is really so strong. Naruto also looked at Kakashi, his face full of disbelief. It turns out that Kakashi teacher is really so strong, thousands of ninjutsu, too terrifying. And Sasuke kept his eyes on Kakashi. What he cared about was not that Kakashi knew thousands of ninjutsu, but that Kakashi actually had the Sharingan. This is the unique eye of the Uchiha clan. But now Kakashi has not revealed the Sharingan, Sasuke still doesn't believe it. Kakashi looked at Zabuza with a solemn expression. It seems that this is a tough battle. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura form a protective formation to protect Mr. Dazna. Yu, today is the first time we have joined forces. Standing aside, Yu slowly walked to Kakashi's side. At this time, he had already drawn a kunai. Although Sasuke and the other two were reluctant, they knew that they were not as strong as Yu. They could only form a protective formation and surround Dazna in the middle. Zabuza looked at Yu. He could not see anything special about Yu. It seems that you trust this kid very much. Is he your disciple? Kakashi did not speak and slowly raised the forehead protector. Sasuke, who had been watching Kakashi, now stared at Kakashi's movements. When Kakashi raised the forehead protector, his left eye, which had been covered, was exposed. When a 3 Magatama Sharingan appeared, Sasuke was stunned. Is it really a Sharingan, or a 3 Magatama Sharingan? Even in the Uchiha clan, only a few people can open it. Is Kakashi from the Uchiha clan? Sasuke thought Kakashi was from the Uchiha clan. After all, Konoha has seen Sasuke's opinion, the only people with Sharingan are from the Uchiha clan. When Sakura and Naruto saw Kakashi's Sharingan, they were also surprised. It was the first time they had seen such strange eyes. What kind of eyes are these? Why is the breath so terrifying? Naruto and Sakura felt the murderous aura emitted by Kakashi at this time. And Naruto felt inexplicably uncomfortable with the Sharingan. Kakashi did not answer Zabuza. Zabuza said to himself, I know your information in the ninja manual very well, so do you think I will fight you on a battlefield that is advantageous to you? As he said that, fog suddenly rose around. The strange scene scared Sasuke and the other two. The three of them drew their kunai and were ready for battle. Yu looked calm. Even though the surroundings were gradually covered by fog and visibility was very low. Yu could feel Zabuza's chakra. This is one of the functions of his chakra. Kakashi frowned. Use the mist technique to block my sight. As expected of Zabuza Momochi, if he is not careful, he will really die here. Kakashi was a little worried about Yu. Yu, don't leave my side. This is the mist hidden technique of the hidden mist village. This ninjutsu is a silent killing technique. Be careful of the movements around you. Ignoring Kakashi, Yu's eyes were always on Zabuza who was lurking towards them at this time. Although the surroundings were filled with mist, Zabuza's whereabouts were completely under his perception. And Yu didn't say anything. Kakashi thought Yu had met with an accident. Kakashi anxiously exploded the chakra in his body. Boom! The terrifying chakra instantly blasted away the surrounding mist, revealing Yu's figure. Seeing that Yu was fine, Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. Why didn't you reply? Yu looked at Kakashi and smiled. I thought Kakashi-sensei could sense my presence. Kakashi shook his head, speechless. Deal with it well, the opponent is an elite Jonin, don't let down your guard. When Kakashi burst out his chakra, Sasuke and the other two looked at Kakashi's back with fear. Is this the murderous aura exuded by the duel between Jonin? It's better to die in such an environment. The momentum duel between Kakashi and Zabuza stunned Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura. The terrifying murderous aura affected the three people's minds. Even Sasuke had raised his kunai and was about to stab his abdomen. His mind was affected by the murderous aura of Kakashi and Zabuza. Even Naruto was terrified at this time and completely lost the will to survive. Chapter 42. Just when Sasuke was about to stab himself, Yu's eyes narrowed slightly. The chakra in his body burst out. Boom! A golden chakra burst out from Yu. The terrifying power instantly dissipated the murderous aura of Zabuza and Kakashi. Sasuke and the other two, who were still terrified just now, were like encountering the warm sunshine in the cold winter, and the solemn atmosphere instantly became warm. Sasuke, who was holding the kunai, stopped his movements. He came to his senses and looked at Yu, who was calm at this time. This is Yu's chakra, his chakra is so strong. Before, Yu only showed physical skills. But now the chakra released by Yu was too terrifying to shock Sasuke. Naruto and Sakura also recovered, but they didn't know that it was Yu who drove away the biting murderous aura. And at this time, inside Naruto's body, in a dim cage, a huge red fox slowly opened its eyes. Is this familiar yet strange chakra that annoying guy? This fox is the nine-tailed fox sealed in Naruto's body. The moment Yu released his chakra just now, he felt a familiar chakra. But it was a little different. It was very sensitive to chakra and was a little solemn at this time. If it is really that man, what does he want to do? Thinking of the time when he was sealed by Senju Hashirama, the nine-tailed fox looked solemn. Yu's chakra gave the nine-tailed fox a feeling that was too much like Senju Hashirama. Although a little different, they were full of rich vitality. This kind of chakra is extremely rare. It only appeared in Senju Hashirama, the six-path sage and his two sons. The nine-tailed fox was still upset about the fact that the first generation of Hokage sealed it. However, the nine-tailed fox looked at the seal that was sealing it at this time, shook his head, closed his eyes and continued to sleep. The chakra that Yu had just exploded stunned Zabuza, who was hiding in the dark. Zabuza felt a very heavy pressure from the chakra just now. This kind of chakra was the first time he had encountered it. The most important thing was that Yu's chakra was too terrifying, and it could instantly disperse the murderous aura of him and Kakashi. The murderous aura of both of them was condensed from chakra. How strong must Yu's chakra be to disperse the chakras of two elite Jonin at the same time? This kid is really not simple. Kakashi let him join the battle together, which seems to be a recognition of his strength. And Kakashi glanced at Yu. He knew why Yu's chakra exploded. The chakra battle between him and Zabuza had already put a lot of pressure on Sasuke and the others. If it weren't for Yu, I'm afraid Sasuke would really stab him. But Kakashi didn't expect that Yu's chakra had increased a lot. This guy is really a monster. Is it because of what happened that night? Kakashi thought that maybe Yu's chakra was enhanced because of the explosion that night. But the speed of this growth has far exceeded Kakashi's expectations. Yu looked at Zabuza who was hiding in the fog in the distance and said, "Teacher Kakashi, you take the lead and I will assist you on the side." Kakashi turned his head and glanced at Yu. "Can you see his position?" Yu nodded. "I can sense his chakra." Kakashi was stunned. Perception ability. Perceiving Zabuza's chakra is the ability of a perception-type ninja. Yu actually has the ability to perceive, and can accurately perceive Zabuza's position. This shows that Yu's perception ability is very strong. Zabuza didn't know that Yu had discovered his position. But since there was no worry, Kakashi naturally let go and started the battle. "He is on the lake," Yu said lightly. Kakashi gathered his chakra and used his Sharingan to look at the lake. He saw Zabuza standing on the lake in an instant. At this time, Zabuza didn't know he was discovered, and he also split a water clone. But Kakashi didn't see it. Just when Kakashi was about to attack Zabuza on the lake, Zabuza suddenly appeared in front of Dasna. Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura didn't react for a while. Just when Zabuza swung the beheading sword and slashed at Dasna, Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura wanted to stop him, but they couldn't move their bodies and it was too late. Zabuza's murderous aura was too strong. The three of them were completely stunned. Bang! Puff! In a flash, Zabuza stopped moving. Dasna was also affected by a force pushing away. Zabuza's hand holding the beheading sword stopped in the air. Everyone looked closely and Yu appeared in front of Zabuza. The kunai in his hand had already pierced Zabuza's chest. Yu's face did not show the joy of killing Zabuza, and his expression was calm. After a while, a lot of water dripped from Zabuza's chest. Not a drop of blood. Yu looked at Zabuza and was not surprised at all. Because this was Zabuza's water clone. The next moment, Zabuza's water clone turned into a pool of clear water. Sasuke and the other two sitting on the ground stared blankly at the scene in front of them. And Kakashi, who rushed to the lake, saw Yu's actions. The corner of his mouth raised slightly. "Well done, Yu." Although it was Zabuza's water clone that attacked Dasna, if he didn't care, Sasuke and the other two would never be the opponent of this water clone. If he didn't care, the water clone would really kill Dasna. Dasna, who fell to the ground, also breathed a sigh of relief. When Zabuza swung his sword just now, he thought he was dead. Looking at Yu who put away his kunai calmly, Sasuke's face was full of solemnity. How can the gap between him and me be so big? If I can't even surpass Yu, how can I kill that bastard? I want to get stronger. I have to get stronger. Naruto was shocked. He couldn't believe that the gap between him and Yu was so big. Yu Yu had no sense of existence when he was in the ninja school. They had just graduated not long ago. But how could the gap suddenly become so big? Naruto couldn't accept it in his heart. The same age, just graduated from the ninja school. Why is Yu Yu so much stronger than him? Sakura felt an extremely safe sense of security. Zabuza on the lake saw Yu Yu and killed his water clone instantly. Some people were surprised. How can that guy be so strong? He should be just a genin, right? The combat experience and speed he showed just now are already at the level of a jonin, right? Who is that guy, a genius cultivated by Konoha? Zabuza was shocked by the strength of Yohane. Originally, he only had to face Kakashi and 3 genin. But now he has to face Kakashi, an elite jonin, and Yohane, a ninja who definitely has the strength of a jonin. It's like he's fighting 1 against 2. Chapter 43. After dealing with Zabuza's water clone, Yu Yu shouted to Kakashi, "Teacher Kakashi, you focus on dealing with that guy's body, don't worry about this." Kakashi's mouth corners slightly raised. It's a wise choice to bring you out. The strength that Yu Yu showed just now made him very pleased. From the previous instant killing of 2 chunins to the current defeat of Zabuza's water clone, Yu Yu has not used ninjutsu, but the strength he has shown has reached the level of jonin. And he can feel that Yu Yu's level of physical skills is obviously much stronger than when he tested him before. If Yu Yu's level of physical skills was like this on the night he tested Yu Yu, he would not be able to defeat Yu Yu so easily. And this is under the premise that Yu Yu has never formally learned physical skills. From before to now, Yu Yu basically fights purely on physical instincts, and has no physical skills at all. It is conceivable how powerful he would be if he formally learned physical skills. Zabuza looked at Yu Yu with a solemn expression. This annoying brat is really hard to deal with. Zabuza knew that if he didn't get rid of Yu Yu, he would never be able to kill Dazna. He didn't feel much pressure fighting Kakashi one-on-one. Although Kakashi was famous. But Zabuza himself was also an elite jonin and one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. He felt that there was no difference between him and Kakashi. But with the addition of Yu Yu, it would be difficult for him to kill Dazna. After all, the purpose of this mission was not to compare with Kakashi, but to kill Dazna. When Kakashi attacked Zabuza, Zabuza swung the beheading sword gloomily. Ding, ding, ding. For a while, the two were on the lake, one wielding the beheading sword and the other wielding the kunai, metal and iron intertwined, sparks flying. The 2 elite jonins fought purely in physical skills. The speed and strength shocked Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura, who were seeing the battle between the jonins for the first time. Sasuke felt his insignificance for the first time. Is this the jonin? Yu Yu is right, Kakashi is really strong. Naruto clenched his fists. Damn it, why am I so weak and can't help at all? Sakura on the side was guarding Dazna seriously. She was the weakest here. Even Sasuke and Naruto couldn't participate in the battle between Zabuza and Kakashi. It was even more impossible for her to participate in it. She just looked at Yu Yu. Yu Yu shocked her too much. He killed 2 chunins in seconds before and saved her, and now he killed a jonin's water clone and saved the 4 of them. Yu Yu's strength has surpassed them by a lot. He obviously didn't have a sense of existence when he was in the ninja school. Yu Yu's attention was completely on the battle between Zabuza and Kakashi. This battle improved him a lot. After all, it was a battle between 2 elite jonin, even if it was just a pure physical contest. It could also give Yu Yu a lot of inspiration. Even watching this battle, Yu Yu also learned some physical skills. Before, he didn't know any physical skills at all, and he fought purely on physical fitness. Zabuza watched Kakashi's attack getting more and more fierce, and knew that if he continued like this, he would not be able to kill Dazna regardless of winning or losing. So he swung the beheading sword heavily, and the terrifying power chopped Kakashi away. Zabuza jumped back. He quickly formed seals with both hands in the air, and in the blink of an eye, a ninjutsu seal was completed. Water style. Water Dragon Bullet Technique. Roar tilde. A dragon roar came from the water surface. Several water columns shot out from the surface of the lake, and these water columns instantly condensed into a water dragon of more than 10 meters in the air. The water dragon flew towards Yu with a roar. The speed was very fast. Kakashi, who was knocked away, was shocked when he reacted. Oh no, Yu doesn't know ninjutsu yet. It's just that the water dragon is too fast, and it flew in front of Yu and others in the blink of an eye. After releasing the ninjutsu, Zabuza raised his mouth slightly. No matter how strong your taijutsu is, it's hard to block this ninjutsu, ha ha ha. Roar tilde. The water dragon roared, terrifying and fast. The water dragon was about to swallow Yu and others. Kakashi wanted to rescue, but it was too late. Yu frowned as he looked at the roaring water dragon rushing towards him. It's really a powerful ninjutsu. In an instant, Yu's hands moved quickly. Water style. Water dragon bullet technique. Roar tilde. Just when the water dragon released by Zabuza was about to hit Yu and others, Yu quickly formed seals with both hands. In an instant, drops of water condensed around Yu. These water drops Yu's surroundings spun rapidly. In the blink of an eye, a giant water dragon of several dozen meters was condensed. It was much larger than the water dragon condensed by Zabuza. The huge water dragon jumped out from Yu's head. It was like a terrifying dragon flying out of the sea, roaring and rushing towards the water dragon released by Zabuza. Boom boom. The two water dragons collided with each other in an instant. The collision caused a strong earthquake, and the ground within dozens of meters around was cracked with countless spider web-like cracks. At the moment the two water dragons collided, the giant water dragon released by Yu blasted Zabuza's water dragon into water splashes. The giant water dragon condensed by Yu was not damaged at all. The giant dragon seemed to have life, and it roared towards Zabuza. In an instant, the dragon head of several meters opened its mouth and swallowed Zabuza. Zabuza was stunned. Impossible, how could he know this ninjutsu? He can't possibly have so much chakra at his age. And his water dragon bullet technique is actually created out of nothing, without any help from the water in the lake. Where does this kid get such a terrifying amount of chakra? Why is my water dragon bullet technique not as good as that of a kid? Why is his water dragon bullet technique so much stronger than mine? Is this guy a human? In just a moment, countless thoughts popped up in Zabuza's mind. But he saw a giant water dragon opening its huge mouth towards him. He had no choice but to use the body flickering technique to avoid it. Boom boom. The giant water dragon did not hit Zabuza, but instead plunged into the lake where Zabuza had just stood. Roar. Zabuza was instantly dozens of meters away, watching the water dragon create several meters high waves in the lake. Even though he was from the blood mist, he was still frightened at this time. What a terrifying water dragon bullet, its power is much stronger than mine. This guy is really a monster. If he is hit, I'm afraid his body will be shattered into pieces. At this time, Kakashi, who came to Sasuke and Naruto, also looked at Yu in disbelief. Kakashi muttered to himself, this water dragon bullet technique, could it be that he learned it from Zabuza? When this thought came to Kakashi's mind, his hair stood on end. This learning ability is too terrifying. And the most terrifying thing is that after Yu learned it, the ninjutsu he released was much more powerful than Zabuza's. Even he was not sure that he could release the water dragon bullet technique of the level that Yu just released. Chapter 44. The water dragon released by Yu plunged into the lake. In a few seconds, the entire body of the giant dragon was more than 100 meters long. The terrifying dragon roar resounded within a radius of hundreds of meters. It was as if a real dragon appeared here. The originally calm lake surface was turbulent due to the collision of the water dragon. Waves several meters high were rolled up, and the waves spread for hundreds of meters. The shore of the lake was flooded by the overflowing water. It even caused the ground within hundreds of meters around to shake. It can be seen how powerful this ninjutsu is. After releasing the ninjutsu, Yu only felt that 1/10 of the chakra in his body was taken away. When Yu put down his hands, he sighed. It is worthy of being a B-level ninjutsu. The consumption of chakra is really huge. Neither Kakashi nor Zabuza heard this. If they heard it, they would be so angry that they would vomit blood. The water dragon bullet technique released by Yu just now did not take advantage of the convenience of the lake at all. It was completely made of water by chakra out of thin air. The terrifying amount of water and the chakra consumed could probably drain the chakra of an ordinary Jonin. When the second Hokage and the third Hokage fought, the Jonin of the Anbu were amazed when they condensed a water array on the roof. The water dragon bullet technique that Yu had just released was more difficult, larger, and more powerful than the second Hokage, and it was also completely condensed by chakra. The reason why the second Hokage relied on chakra to condense water was because there was no water in his environment. But there was a lake in front of Yu, and the reason why he relied entirely on chakra was because it was his first time to release this ninjutsu and he had no experience. Even so, the water dragon bullet technique released by Yu was far more powerful than Zabuza's. If it weren't for the fact that the chakra in Yu's body was all natural energy, the amount required was much less than that of ordinary chakra, it would not have consumed more than 1/10 of Yu's chakra. But even so, Yu actually felt that this ninjutsu consumed a lot of chakra. It's true that people are so annoying when compared to others. When Yu muttered to himself, Sakura beside him was stunned. Yu, your ninjutsu is much stronger than that Zabuza. When Yu released the ninjutsu just now, there was a layer of water wall around Sakura and Dasna. Those water walls are the bodies of water dragons. So when Yu released the ninjutsu, Sakura watched the whole process. Zabuza, an elite Jonin, released the water dragon bullet jutsu, but it didn't beat the water dragon bullet jutsu released by Yu. Sakura didn't know what to say. If Sakura thought that Yu was much stronger than them only in physical skills. Now Yu is much stronger than them in physical skills, ninjutsu, and chakra. Even if Sakura didn't know the water dragon bullet jutsu, the pressure of Yu's water dragon bullet jutsu just now showed that it consumed a lot of chakra. That was a giant water dragon of more than 100 meters. And the water dragon released by Yu seemed to have life, which was completely different from Zabuza's. Yu made her more and more curious. Yu was so powerful, how could he be unknown in ninja school? It's okay to be unknown, but before graduation, she didn't realize that there was a classmate named Jingwen Yu in the class. Yu shook his head. It's just because I used this ninjutsu for the first time and didn't master it clearly. Sakura was stunned. This answer made Sakura confused. Is this the first time you use this ninjutsu? Yu nodded. How is it possible? I saw you forming seals so quickly and so skillfully just now. How could it be the first time you use this ninjutsu? Yu didn't say anything else. He didn't need to explain to Sakura. Sakura couldn't understand it yet. Seeing that Yu didn't explain, Sakura became more and more shocked. Because she realized that Yu couldn't lie to her at all. After all, with Yu's personality, he didn't need to lie. After all, when he was in ninja school, he was so low-key, it's impossible for him to suddenly be high-profile now. But the more this happened, the more surprised Sakura was. The first time it was used, it was so powerful. And Yu actually said that he didn't master it clearly. He could use it so skillfully without mastering it clearly. What would it be like if he mastered it clearly? Could it be activated without seals? The more I thought about it, the scarier it became. She was the same age as her, but she couldn't even see Yu's back. The gap between the two was so big. Kakashi came to Yu and sighed. The control is much stronger, at least the power is not so huge, and it is not so uncontrollable. It seems that you are making rapid progress. Yu nodded. Maybe it's because this ninjutsu is easy to control. The control force does not need to be that high. Yu knew what Kakashi meant. Although the water dragon bullet technique released by Yu just now was very powerful, it shocked Kakashi. But it was definitely not as shocking as when Yu released Chidori that night. If Yu had used the Chidori that he released that day, I'm afraid no one here would have survived except Yu. That is the power that instantly engulfs everything within hundreds of meters around. If Kakashi hadn't run fast when he saw the situation was not good that night, he would have been seriously injured. Injury. Although the water dragon bullet technique released by Yu just now is also very powerful, it is completely controllable. It has a high practical value. But Yu actually said that the difficulty of water style, water dragon bullet technique, is not difficult. That is AB level ninjutsu, which is usually only mastered by Jonin. If an ordinary Chunin releases it once, the chakra will probably be drained. In battle, only Jonin dares to use it a few times with the help of the terrain. After all, you have to ensure that there is enough chakra in your body to continue fighting. And the water dragon bullet the technique consumes too much chakra. But the water dragon bullet technique released by Yu is not only extremely powerful, much stronger than ordinary water dragon bullet techniques, but also completely relies on his own chakra to condense into water. Even Kakashi can only release this water dragon bullet technique 2 or 3 times. Kakashi's chakra is very large, but it is always consumed by his Sharingan. Without the consumption of Sharingan, Kakashi's chakra is definitely at the level of Kage. We know this from the Fourth Ninja World War. Without Sharingan, he could use all kinds of large-scale ninjutsu effortlessly. And the water dragon bullet technique is not simple at all. The difficulty of B level is also very high for Chunin. But Yu actually learned it on the spot, and he was very proficient in it the first time. But when Yu learned A-level ninjutsu such as Chidori, he also learned it the first time. If Yu's chakra hadn't gone out of control that night, he would have learned it. Kakashi looked at Yu and smiled. The chakra consumption is very large. Yu nodded seriously. It really consumes a lot of chakra. It took out 1/10 of my chakra at once. Kakashi was stunned for a moment. Only 1/10. Yu asked in confusion. Is 1/10 not much? This answer made Kakashi speechless. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly and said, I thought it would take out at least 1/3 of your chakra. If that's the case, it's too scary. Yu was a little confused. He thought that draining 1/10 of the chakra was a lot, but Kakashi actually said that he thought it would drain 1/3. After all, it was just a B-level ninjutsu. If it was an A-level or S-level ninjutsu that drained so much chakra, he could accept it. Chapter 45. Kakashi looked at Yu's puzzled expression and was somewhat speechless. However, when he thought that Yu's chakra was Senjutsu chakra, he figured it out. Senjutsu chakra is indeed of higher quality than ordinary chakra, and he can understand that the same ninjutsu consumes less Senjutsu chakra. Did you learn the water dragon bullet technique on the spot? Kakashi asked. Yu nodded. When I saw him making a seal, I could feel his chakra flow, and this ninjutsu is not difficult, so I tried it. I didn't expect it to be successful. Hearing Yu say this, Kakashi didn't know what to say for a while. This ninjutsu is not easy. B-level ninjutsu is a ninjutsu that only a senior ninjutsu can master. Although Kakashi said this, Yu didn't care. He didn't think it was difficult for him to copy the water dragon bullet technique on the spot. In other words, the water dragon bullet technique was not difficult for him. He could clearly sense the chakra flow in Zabuza's body. In a sense, Yu is not much different from having a Sharingan or a Byakugan. Zabuza, who was in the distance, looked at Yu with an unusually solemn look. This kid is really hard to deal with. If he joins forces with Kakashi, this mission will not be easy to complete. If he wants to kill Dazna, he must get rid of Yu. Even if he can defeat Yu, Kakashi next to him will not let him go. Thinking of this, Zabuza decisively gave up the assassination. Kid, I will kill you next time we meet. Before leaving, Zabuza said something cruel to Yu. After that, he disappeared on the lake. Yu looked at the lake where Zabuza disappeared, and muttered to himself, "Next time we meet, maybe it won't be you who kills me." Yu doesn't like others threatening him the most. And through this battle, he already knows the approximate strength of Zabuza. He does have the strength of an elite Jonin. If Yu and him fight alone, Yu might be the one who dies in the end. But with Kakashi's presence, in a 2-on-1 situation, Yu is sure that Zabuza will be the one who dies. After Zabuza left, Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. After all, the students he brought with him, except Sakura, are all people who Konoha must not let go of. Naruto is naturally, needless to say, the son of the 4th generation, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Sasuke is the last survivor of the Uchiha clan, and the 3rd generation is also optimistic about him, wanting him to grow up in the future, develop the Sharingan, and control the Nine Tails in Naruto's body in the future. Yu is the person Kakashi values most, and regards him as his own disciple. However, if Zabuza does not leave, it is probably impossible to successfully kill Dazna. Although Yu's strength may not be as good as Zabuza, with him around, Zabuza's strength will definitely not be able to beat Yu and Kakashi's combination. Sasuke and Naruto walked over. The way the two looked at Yu was completely different from before. In this battle, Yu showed much more strength than them. They were not even on the same level. "Teacher Kakashi, did you teach Yu a lot of ninjutsu? He is already much stronger than us." Naruto pouted. Naruto thought that Yu's strength was because Kakashi secretly gave Yu lessons. Sasuke didn't think so. He could feel that Yu's fighting style was completely different from Kakashi's. And he estimated that Kakashi couldn't release the Water Dragon Bullet technique just now. As a member of the Uchiha clan, he knew very well that the ninjutsu released by Yu just now was more powerful than the Water Dragon Bullet technique itself. Yu was also like him and Naruto, there must be something special about him. Kakashi looked at Naruto's indignant expression and explained, "I didn't teach him this ninjutsu." Naruto certainly didn't believe it. Impossible, the ninjutsu just now was very complicated just for the hand seals, could it be developed by Yu himself? Kakashi patted Naruto's shoulder, looked at him seriously and said, "Is it possible that he imitated Zabuza to release it?" "Teacher Kakashi, do you think I'm a fool? How is that possible? If I could learn it just by looking at it, wouldn't I know a lot of ninjutsu now?" Naruto really didn't learn any knowledge in the ninja school. If it weren't for the care of the 3rd generation, according to his grades in the ninja school, he would have been expelled long ago. He often got 0 marks in various subjects, and even when he graduated, he didn't even learn the clone technique. This is the most basic ninjutsu, and every ninja in the ninja school can learn it. Students who can be selected into the ninja school are very outstanding. Konoha has only one ninja school, and only dozens of people are selected to enter the school every year. Judging from the 4th Ninja World War, there are at least 10,000 ninjas in Konoha. It is obviously impossible that all of them came from ninja schools. Most of the ninjas in the ninja world did not come from ninja schools, but were selected. Just like the Chunin exam, not all Chunin need to take the Chunin exam to be promoted to Chunin. Most Chunin are recognized by the village. As long as the village thinks that your ability has reached Chunin, you will be promoted to Chunin. Those who can take the Chunin exam are basically the elites of each village. The Chunin exam is not an ordinary exam, but a competition for each village to show its outstanding juniors. Similarly, the ninja school is the same. Ordinary people are not qualified to enter the ninja school. But Naruto not only entered the ninja school, but also had very poor grades. He was able to continue to stay in the ninja school. It can be imagined how much backdoor the 3rd generation opened for him. But Naruto obviously didn't know these things. He really didn't learn much knowledge in the ninja school. Let alone ninjutsu, she doesn't even know the most basic theoretical knowledge. On the contrary, in the ninja school, Sakura is the real genius. In terms of theoretical knowledge of ninja, even Sasuke is not as good as her. During the Chunin exam, Sasuke and Naruto were no different in many questions and couldn't do them at all. But Sakura could do them all. Of course, that exam tested the ability of ninjas to collect intelligence. Sakura passed it with solid theoretical knowledge. So Naruto thought it was impossible to learn ninjutsu by just watching. It's too far-fetched. But Sasuke knew it very well, and he had even seen it. That person was his brother, the person he had always wanted to kill, Uchiha Itachi. At the beginning, Uchiha Itachi could release the same ninjutsu after watching his father demonstrate it once. And he still needs to practice for a long time before he can release it. Sasuke looked at Yu, as if he saw Uchiha Itachi at the beginning. Does Yu have the same talent as that man? No, maybe Yu's talent is stronger than that man. After all, Yu learned AB level ninjutsu during the battle, and the power released is stronger than his learning object. As long as I can defeat Yu, I can definitely defeat that man. Sasuke clenched his fists. He was a little jealous of Yu. Now he has regarded Yu as his goal to surpass. Chapter 46. Seeing that Naruto didn't believe it at all, Kakashi stopped explaining. After all, Yu's situation was indeed special. Turning around, Kakashi and Dasna said, "Mr. Dasna, how many Jonin did Kado hire?" Except Zabuza. Dasna thought for a while and said, "I'm not sure about this. I only heard that Kado hired Jonin before, but I don't even know which Jonin he hired." Kakashi was silent for a while. He was thinking about whether to continue this mission. Zabuza alone is already a headache. If there is another Jonin, it will be very difficult. Kakashi looked at Yu. Wanted to ask for his opinion. Yu nodded. It has come to this point, we can only continue to execute. I will work hard during this period to at least hold back one Jonin. I think with the strength of Mr. Kakashi, as long as I hold back one Jonin, you should be able to defeat Zabuza. If they only have Zabuza as a Jonin, we will join forces and Zabuza will have no chance at all. Kakashi thought for a while and said, "Okay, in this case, let's continue to execute this mission. During the time of protecting Mr. Dasna, I will hurry up to teach you some ninjutsu. You now have the strength of a Jonin, and you have good practical experience. Add a few more lethal ninjutsu, and you will be a true Jonin." Kakashi did not exaggerate about Yu's strength. "I will." Yu also agreed with Kakashi's suggestion. Naruto came over and said, "Teacher Kakashi, don't forget us. We are also your students." Kakashi looked at Naruto and said, "Of course I know, but you are not suitable to learn ninjutsu directly now. You have to lay a good foundation first." Naruto looked confused. "What foundation? Teacher Kakashi, don't you want to teach us?" Naruto felt that Kakashi must have made excuses because he didn't want to teach them. Kakashi was a little helpless. "You must lay a good foundation first. You haven't even learned chakra control, let alone learning ninjutsu." Yu had already controlled chakra very well before, so he doesn't need to continue learning how to control chakra. Naruto still felt that Kakashi was biased. Sasuke was thoughtful. Unlike Naruto, he agreed with Kakashi's idea. And Sakura looked at Yu with admiration. Yu was so strong, but he was so calm. Looking at Naruto turning his head away, pouting, and looking angry. Kakashi was helpless. He really wasn't partial. Although he valued Yu more, Naruto was the son of the fourth Hokage after all, and the third Hokage personally gave him the opportunity to train him. Kakashi wasn't partial in any way. It's just that Naruto's foundation is nothing now, what can he teach him? Even if he taught, Naruto probably wouldn't be able to learn it. After all, Naruto didn't even learn the clone technique very well. If it weren't for the fact that the shadow clone technique was very suitable for his physique, he might not even be able to learn it. The third Hokage really took great pains to let Naruto learn the shadow clone technique. He could easily steal such an important ninjutsu scroll as the Book of Sealing. He mobilized a large number of ninjas to search for him, but he couldn't find him. You can imagine how much effort the third Hokage put into it. Those ninjas sent out to find Naruto were probably worried that they would be punished if they accidentally caught Naruto. Kakashi was helpless, but Naruto didn't believe it. So he didn't explain it. The group continued on their way. Finally, they arrived at Dazna's house. There were 3 people in Dazna's family, his daughter Zimba and grandson Inari. Inari looked at Kakashi, and the eyes of the 5 people of Yu were full of suspicion. During the meal, Dazna and Zimba told Inari about what happened along the way. Inari, who was originally skeptical of Kakashi and others, looked at Kakashi and Yu with sparkling eyes. Can you really beat the ninja of Kado? Inari couldn't help asking Kakashi. Kakashi scratched his head and said, it should be possible. Inari saw that Kakashi didn't look confident, and his confidence was shattered again. Is it really impossible? Those ninjas are so powerful, how can we defeat them? Hearing this, Naruto was unhappy. Don't be so depressed, I want to be the ninja of Hokage. Even if Zabuza is more powerful, I will definitely defeat him. But Inari was not interested in Naruto's passionate speech. He also mocked. Even your teacher is not. You look so confident, how can you do it? Naruto clenched his fists and said seriously, it's just Zabuza, I can beat him too. Sakura and Sasuke, who were sitting on the side, looked at Naruto's excitement and were speechless. In the previous battle, Naruto was not as heroic as he is now. Inari didn't believe it at all and said contemptuously, Kado is much stronger than you think. Anyone who goes against him will die. Inari roared emotionally as if he remembered something painful. Naruto was stunned by Inari's roar. He didn't know why he had such an attitude when he and others came to help Inari. After Inari finished speaking, he ran out. Dazna sighed. Kakashi asked, this child must have experienced something sad, and it is related to Kado. Dazna said, his father was killed by Kado for resisting him. Quote, ever since he saw his father being killed by Kado, Inari has never believed that anyone can defeat Kado. Think that being a hero is stupid. In fact, Inari has always been proud of his father. It's just that the incident was too much of a blow to him. After listening to Dazna, Naruto, who originally wanted to find Inari to argue, fell silent. Tsunami sat next to Dazna and sighed. That kid also hopes that someone can stand up and defeat Kado, but it's a pity that no one has done it for so many years. In fact, it's not just Inari, the whole country of Waves hopes that someone can defeat Kado. Naruto looked at Dazna and said seriously, I will definitely defeat Kado and let Inari change his mind. But after Naruto finished speaking, Dazna didn't look at him, but looked at Kakashi and Yayu. Kakashi, Yayu boy, are you really sure you can defeat Zabuza? Naruto was furious. But he also knew that in the previous battle, Kakashi and Yayu did show great strength. He did not perform very well. Yayu did not speak. He felt that it was not his turn to speak. Kakashi thought for a while and said, if there was only Zabuza, I would be sure to defeat him. What's more, there is Yayu. As long as there is only Zabuza, he is not a match for me and Yayu. But if Kado hires another Jonin, the outcome will be hard to say. After listening to Kakashi's words, Dazna was a little worried. It might be extremely rare to hire Kakashi and Yayu just for the reward of AC level mission. He couldn't ask for anything else. Chapter 47. After chatting with Dazna for a while, Kakashi called Yayu, Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura to a meeting. In the room, Kakashi sat in front of the 4 people and said, I need to make some arrangements for this escort mission. Because we need to protect Mr. Dazna while practicing. So I plan to divide you into 2 groups, and the 2 groups will take turns to protect Mr. Dazna. When one group protects Mr. Dazna, The other group will practice with me. Hearing Kakashi's arrangement, Naruto immediately raised his hand and said, Teacher Kakashi, I want to be in the same group with Sakura. Sakura's mouth twitched slightly, and she said disdainfully, I don't want it. Sakura's straightforward refusal made Naruto very sad. Sakura, let's be in the same group of two. Naruto said. Although Sakura made it clear every time that she didn't like Naruto and liked Sasuke, Naruto still didn't give up. At this time, Sakura was the goddess in Naruto's heart. Naruto's performance even had some potential to be a dog licker. But the more intimate Naruto acted, the less Sakura liked it. So she still said with disdain, I don't want it. Sakura quickly said, I want to be in the same group with Sasuke. Sasuke didn't say anything. He didn't care which group he was in. The same was true for Yu. Kakashi looked at Naruto and Sakura and had a headache. Okay, Sasuke and Naruto are in one group, and Yu is in one group with Sakura. That's it. Naruto jumped up in anger when he heard this plan. Why? I don't want to be in the same group with Sasuke. Naruto's face was full of anger. The person he hated the most was Sasuke. Sakura was also stunned for a moment. She didn't dislike Yu. It's just that she wanted to be in the same group with Sasuke. So she was also a little dissatisfied. But she looked at Yu's calm face and didn't say anything. Sasuke saw Naruto pointing at him with a look of disgust. He also said unhappily, Who do you think wants to be in the same group with the last one? Naruto clenched his fists, looked at Sasuke and said angrily, Asshole, Sasuke, we are not in the ninja school now, do you think you can be better than me? Although Sasuke wanted to refute, he thought about Naruto's character and finally shut up. It's not that he is afraid of Naruto, but he is annoyed by continuing to entangle with Naruto. Seeing that Sasuke didn't say anything, Naruto pointed the finger at Kakashi. Teacher Kakashi, you are too partial, why let Yu and Xiaoying be in the same group? Xiaoying is not in the same team with Yu. Yu's face was calm. He didn't care which group he was assigned to. He even hoped to be in the same group. Kakashi looked at Naruto and explained, This is because Yu's strength is enough to protect Xiaoying, and although you and Sasuke's strength is not strong, the two of you can protect yourself together. Naruto was stunned. He looked at Sasuke. I won't join forces with Sasuke. But he was still very happy. After all, Kakashi acknowledged his strength. Sasuke nodded and agreed to this grouping. Sakura was a little helpless. Teacher Kakashi, do you mean I am the weakest? Although this is true, in the previous battle with Zabuza, although Naruto did not perform very well. But he was also stronger than Sakura. Sakura knew this very well. In terms of fighting, she is the weakest in the team. Even at this time, Sakura actually has no combat ability. She only knows the three-body technique and the use of some ninjutsu. Her combat power is much lower than Naruto. Kakashi did not answer Sakura's question, which was considered a tacit agreement. After the groups were divided, several people went to rest. On the other side, after Zabuza ran away. Back to the residence in the forest. In the room, after Zabuza put down the beheading sword, he sat in the room and thought. After a long time, the door of the room opened. A beautiful person walked in from outside. When Zabuza saw this person, he said, You must take action next time. You should have seen the whole battle. The person nodded, his face calm. And this person is Zabuza's assistant, Bai. She is very beautiful, and looks like a beautiful woman. But in fact, Bai is a boy. A ninja from the Snow clan of the Hidden Mist village. Possessing the bloodline limit of ice release. His strength is definitely at the level of a Jonin. If it weren't for his personality, his strength would even be considered strong among Jonin. Bai walked in, stood next to Zabuza and said, I saw it, that person is very strong, definitely not weaker than me. Zabuza looked solemn. Yes, his strength is not inferior to yours. To complete this mission, we need to hold that guy back. As long as we hold that guy back, I will be able to kill Kakashi and complete this mission. Bai thought of Yu's performance in the previous battle and said, it seems that this is his first actual combat. Although he is very strong, he obviously does not have much experience. Zabuza nodded. That guy should be Kakashi's student, and he is a genin who just graduated from the ninja school. If that guy lives, Konoha will have a powerful ninja. But this has nothing to do with us. In order to complete this mission, that guy must die. Bai was silent. He didn't want to kill anyone. Especially since Yu had no grudge against him. Zabuza looked at Bai. He knew Bai's character. Bai, you have to know that if that guy doesn't die, we can't complete the mission. We must complete this mission. Your mercy should not be used on him. Bai didn't say anything. That said, he still didn't want to kill anyone. But he also knew very well that, like Zabuza said, they had to complete this mission. Because they had been hunted by the Anbu of the Hidden Mist Village, it was difficult for them to receive stable missions in one place. If they wanted to survive, they had to complete Kato's mission. Bai knew that he would be helpless in the end. Just as Bai and Zabuza were talking, the door was kicked open. Two samurai with long swords appeared at the door. Zabuza frowned. He was very unhappy that the door was kicked open. The two samurai felt Zabuza's cold eyes and trembled all over. The two knew how powerful Zabuza was. Quickly stepped aside, and Kato behind him came out. He was not afraid of Zabuza at all. As soon as he came in, he shouted angrily, Zabuza, why didn't you kill that old thing Dazna? Aren't you a Jonin of the Hidden Mist Village? I paid you so much, why didn't you complete the mission? Zabuza glanced at Kato coldly. The coldness made Kato take a step back. But the identity of the employer made him stop and stare back. I hired you because I heard that you are very strong. You disappoint me so much. Kato said coldly. Just when Kato wanted to say something, he suddenly felt a blood mark on his neck. Looking at the beheading sword on his neck, Kato panicked. He said tremblingly, what do you want to do? Do you still want to kill the employer? If you dare to kill me, your reputation will be gone, and you will never be able to receive other people's tasks in the ninja world. Zabuza said coldly, if you dare to chatter again, I will let your head fall off now. Feeling Zabuza's strong killing intent, Kato swallowed his saliva. He was really scared. He felt that Zabuza would really kill him. Chapter 48. He didn't want to die here. Bai on the side stopped Zabuza, and he saw the murderous intent in Zabuza's eyes. If Kato kept talking nonsense, he would really do it. Sir Zabuza, after all, he is the employer. Zabuza glanced at Bai and said nothing more. Put down the beheading sword in his hand. It was just that the biting coldness on his body made Kato truly experience the horror of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Kato took a few steps back and said, if you don't kill that Dazna before he builds the bridge, you don't want the rest of the reward. After saying a cruel word, Kato hurriedly ran out of Zabuza's residence. Although Kato is also a big villain, he is much worse than Zabuza, who killed all his classmates right after graduating from the ninja school. After Kato ran out, Zabuza looked at Bai. Why did you stop me from killing that guy? Bai walked to Zabuza and explained, killing him will definitely cause chaos, and then he will be hunted down by the Anbu of the Hidden Mist Village. Zabuza didn't say anything else. At this time, in the forest behind the mountain of Dazna's house, Kakashi stood in front of Yu, Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura, looked at the 4 people and said, next you will start training. The best way to train chakra is to climb trees. Kakashi just finished speaking. Naruto smiled and said, Teacher Kakashi, who doesn't know how to climb trees, is this also considered training? Kakashi ignored Naruto, walked to the bottom of a big tree, and stepped on it. Slowly, the other foot also stepped on the trunk. At this time, Kakashi was perpendicular to the trunk of the big tree. It was like Kakashi was standing on the trunk. This scene shocked Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura. Teacher Kakashi is actually stuck on the tree. Naruto said in disbelief. Sasuke was thoughtful. Kakashi walked slowly to the top of the tree. He even hung upside down under the tree trunk. This scene shocked Naruto and the other two. Kakashi explained to the three people backwards, "You should gather chakra under your feet. You must control the amount of chakra. Too little or too much will make you fall down. As long as you do the same as me, your control over chakra will be enhanced to a higher level." After that, Kakashi walked down from the tree. "You all go and try it." Kakashi looked at Sasuke and the others and said. Naruto couldn't wait any longer. He ran towards a tree while shouting. Sasuke also walked towards a tree. Sakura chose a tree between the two of them. Yu stood there without moving. He already knew it. Kakashi didn't say anything. He was only teaching Sasuke and the other two this method. He knew that Yu had already mastered it. Naruto fell from the tree just after taking the first step. He even had a big bump on his head. It hurts so much. Naruto twisted and turned on the ground, holding his head. Sasuke climbed up smoothly in the first few steps, but when he reached the middle, he couldn't control his chakra well and fell from the tree. But he was not as embarrassed as Naruto. Surprisingly, Sakura succeeded in one try. At this time, she was sitting on the tree trunk and greeting the people below. "Teacher Kakashi, I'm up." Naruto, who was twisting and turning on the ground, looked at Sakura sitting on the tree with envy on his face. But he still shouted, "Sakura is so amazing, she is worthy of being the woman I like." But he was still a little unhappy in his heart. Even though Sakura was the girl he liked, he was still jealous. Sasuke looked at Sakura and frowned. He was not jealous of Sakura, he knew that Sakura had good chakra control. Now he just wanted to ask Sakura what the secret was, but he was embarrassed to ask. After all, Sasuke was usually very cold. He was the best in the ninja school. Now he was embarrassed to ask Sakura for the secret. Kakashi looked at Naruto and Sasuke and said with a smile, "I didn't expect that Sakura was the first girl to do it." Sure enough, Sakura is the best in chakra control. Didn't someone always say that he wanted to become a Hokage? It seems that he is just like that. He looked at Sasuke again. It seems that the Uchiha clan is not that good. Kakashi pointed at Naruto and Sasuke at once. Of course, he didn't really want to hurt the two, but to provoke them. Both Naruto and Sasuke have strong self-esteem. This method is most effective for them. Sure enough, after hearing what Kakashi said, Naruto was the first to get excited. "Teacher Kakashi, I just made a mistake. I will definitely be able to do it next time." Sasuke said nothing, walked to the tree silently, and prepared to try again. When Naruto walked to the tree, he noticed Yu who had been standing next to Kakashi without moving. He asked in doubt, "Yu, don't you practice?" Yu didn't say anything. Kakashi answered for him, "Yu has already mastered it." And it was successful the first time. Naruto's mouth twitched slightly. He shouldn't have asked. Knowing that Yu was much stronger than them, he must have practiced this kind of thing a long time ago. Sasuke didn't say anything and continued to climb the tree. Sakura sat on the tree and looked at the two people below. She also noticed Yu. Yu should have known it a long time ago, for sure. After all, he is so strong. What a weird guy, he is so outstanding, but I didn't have any impression of him in the ninja school. Recalling the memory of Yu appearing in front of her twice to save her, Sakura has a good impression of Yu. Of course, it is a good impression between friends. After all, Yu is almost equivalent to her savior. She is very curious about Yu now. Although she has been a classmate with Yu for 6 years, she knows nothing about Yu. When Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura were training, Kakashi looked at Yu and said, "They practice theirs, and I will teach you to practice." Yu nodded. The two did not practice here, but came to a lake a few hundred meters away. Standing next to the lake, Kakashi sighed. I remembered that night, we were also next to the lake. If your chakra had not suddenly run away at that time, you would have succeeded. Yu Yu nodded. It's unexpected, but I think I should be able to master it now. Oh, have you mastered it? Yu Yu looked at Kakashi and smiled. Let me try. Kakashi took a few steps back. If your chakra goes berserk again, the impact will be too great. Yu Yu shook his head. No, I'm sure I can succeed this time. Kakashi hesitated for a while, nodded and said, you try it, I'll watch over you. After that, Kakashi stepped back dozens of meters. Yu Yu's berserk that night affected a large area. Kakashi didn't dare to get too close to Yu Yu. Chapter 49. After Kakashi retreated about 100 meters, Yu Yu walked to the lake. If Yu Yu ran away again here, the water in the lake could also reduce the power of the explosion. Standing on the lake, Yu Yu began to condense the chakra in his body. He began to condense chakra in his hands. In an instant, a large amount of chakra condensed in the palm of Yu Yu's hand. These chakras instantly transformed into lightning. Sizzle tilde. Ziz. Countless golden arcs immediately emerged from Yu Yu's hands. These arcs were entangled in Yu Yu's hands with their claws and teeth. Countless lightning was also generated within a dozen meters around Yu Yu. These lightnings were like lightning snakes swimming in the air. And the center of these lightning snakes was Yu Yu. Even though it was daytime, the countless thunders caused by Yu Yu also made his position emit a fierce golden light, like the scorching sun. Kakashi, who was standing 100 meters away at this time, saw this scene and swallowed his saliva. Even if this dazzling scene is not the first time I have seen it, it is still shocking. How can this be called Chidori? Both the form of lightning and the energy of chakra are far beyond ordinary Chidori. I don't know how powerful it is. Kakashi has even revealed his Sharingan. Yu Yu's Chidori is obviously completely different from his Chidori. It is much more powerful. It is so noisy, but the sound is not loud. The harsh thunder stopped after only spreading for dozens of meters. After all, Chidori is a surprise attack ninjutsu. If it is too noisy, it will lose the biggest advantage of this ninjutsu. Yu Yu watched the lightning arcs around him gather towards his palm. The lightning snakes that were originally wandering around him all merged into his palm. Gradually, all the lightning gathered in Yu Yu's palm. The golden lightning shook violently. At this time, the golden light around had disappeared, revealing Yu Yu's figure. All the lightning was condensed in his palm. Kakashi was stunned. Have you condensed all the chakra that has escaped into your hands? This terrible chakra control, even I can't do it. This kid really gives me surprises at any time. Don't look at the lightning condensed in Yu Yu's hands at this time. It is much smaller than at the beginning. But the lightning in Yu Yu's hands at this time is the concentration of the lightning that contained terrifying energy just now. The power of the Chidori in Yu Yu's hand will only be stronger than before, and it will definitely not be weaker. Yu Yu looked at the lightning condensed in his hand. Turned his head and looked at Kakashi in the distance. Seeing Yu Yu looking at him, Kakashi was stunned for a moment. What does this kid want to do? Kakashi couldn't figure out what Yu Yu's eyes were. Soon, he knew. Yu Yu raised the corner of his mouth slightly and exerted force on his feet. His whole body quickly jumped up to the sky. Like a cannonball, he instantly appeared at a height of tens of meters above the lake. The ground where Yu Yu had just jumped had collapsed, and a crack that spread over tens of meters appeared, like a spider web. Yu Yu, who had jumped tens of meters above the lake, blasted the Chidori in his hand towards the lake. Lightning released Chidori. With a roar from Yu Yu. In an instant, Yu Yu's figure turned into a golden lightning and shot towards the lake. Crack tilde. Sizzle tilde. Boom boom. In an instant, the ground shook within hundreds of meters around. A violent explosion occurred in the lake hundreds of meters wide. The water in the lake was instantly evaporated into the air by the terrifying thunder and turned into water vapor. A flash of light flashed, and a 100-meter-wide pit appeared in the center of the lake, hundreds of meters wide. All the water in the pit was blasted away. The lake water that was blasted aside slowly flowed into the big pit in the center of the lake after more than 10 seconds. Yu had already jumped to the edge of the lake. There was still a tiny golden arc of electricity on his hand. Watching the lake water gathering towards the center, Yu smiled. "Teacher Kakashi, how is it? Is the power okay?" At this time, Kakashi had come to Yu. Looking at his right hand that flashed arcs from time to time, he looked at the lake water flowing towards the center of the lake again. Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. "Is this the Chidori I taught you?" Kakashi looked at Yu with a face full of doubt. Yu smiled. "Of course, this power should be okay, right?" Kakashi looked at Yu, and his mouth twitched slightly. "More than okay, even if I use Reikiri, I can't achieve this power. And your attack speed is faster than mine, the lethality of this ninjutsu is definitely S level." Yu was stunned for a moment. Is there an S level? He really didn't know. Although he knew that the Chidori he released was very powerful, the lethality of S level was the standard of the cage level. Kakashi nodded seriously. "It is definitely S level. My Reikiri has a strong lethality and is also S level, but it is not as lethal as your ninjutsu." Yu thought for a while and said, "Actually, when I released the Chidori just now, I was thinking that this ninjutsu can be used as a long-range ninjutsu with a slight modification." Kakashi was stunned for a moment. Long-range ninjutsu. Yu nodded. "I have an idea, but I don't know if it will work." "Tell me about it." Kakashi didn't think Yu was whimsical. He knew that Yu had a strong understanding of ninjutsu. Yu quickly told Kakashi about Sasuke's Chidori Sharp Spear and Chidori Thousand Books. Kakashi nodded. "Yes, this idea is completely feasible, but in this case, the power of Chidori will be weakened." Kakashi is worthy of being Kakashi. As soon as he heard Yu's idea, he knew the problem of these two techniques. Yu smiled and said, "It is worth sacrificing power to increase the range." Kakashi nodded. "These two improvements are not much of a gain for me, but they are of great benefit to you." "Well, because I have a lot of chakra, and the power of ninjutsu is also great, sacrificing power, the power is still very strong," Yu added. After the two communicated for a while, Yu planned to try his own improvements. In fact, he didn't know how Sasuke did it at the beginning. But Yu had his own improvement method based on Chidori. He didn't care whether his improvement was the same as Sasuke's. This time Kakashi didn't stay away from Yu. From the control of Chidori released by Yu just now, Yu has mastered the power in his body. Although Yu's control speed was faster than he expected. But Kakashi could accept it. Since Yu could control the power in his body, he naturally didn't need to stay away from Yu. Standing by the lake, Yu raised his right hand. In an instant, countless arcs of electricity condensed in his hand. It was the first time that Kakashi saw the lightning condensed by Yu up close. The power emitted by the golden lightning was so powerful that even an elite Jonin like Kakashi felt a little scared. Looking at Yu's serious look, Kakashi was very relieved. Yu is growing very fast, but I don't have much to teach him. After all, Yu has learned Kakashi's strongest ninjutsu. The only thing Kakashi has now is a Sharingan. He can't possibly give the Sharingan to Yu. So he felt that he had nothing to teach Yu. At least in ninjutsu. But in terms of ninja experience, he knew that Yu still had a lot of knowledge to learn. Chapter 50. Yu didn't notice Kakashi's gratified look. After he condensed the chakra, he concentrated the chakra at one point and fired it out as he had imagined. Lightning style, Chidori Sharp Spear. Sizzle tilde. Puff tilde. Boom. A golden ray of light instantly shot out from Yu's hand. In an instant, the golden lightning penetrated the forest hundreds of meters away, creating a gap of tens of meters in the forest opposite the lake. All the trees in the gap were cut off by lightning. Dozens of large trees fell to the ground, and the cuts were as smooth as a mirror. Kakashi was stunned. This ninjutsu is unexpectedly powerful. Kakashi really didn't expect this ninjutsu to be so powerful. Not to mention the long range, the power at the end can actually create a vacuum zone of tens of meters in the forest. Originally, Kakashi thought that the range of Chidori's sharp spear was good enough to be 10 meters. But Yu actually shot at a range of hundreds of meters, and the terminal speed still had S-level lethality. And the speed was too fast, even comparable to the lightning in nature. The speed of lightning condensed by ninjas using chakra cannot be compared with that in nature. But the lightning released by Yu just now can definitely be compared with the speed in nature. It can be said that in terms of lethality, the Chidori sharp spear, improved by Yu has reached the level of S-level ninjutsu. And it is also a very practical S-level ninjutsu. The attack range is really too far. A distance of hundreds of meters, and it is still instantaneous. Looking at Yu's appearance, it seems that not much chakra has been consumed. Yu actually didn't expect this ninjutsu to be so strong. He even thinks that the practicality of this ninjutsu far exceeds Chidori. After all, who wants to fight in close combat when they can attack from a distance? The power is indeed a bit beyond my expectations. Yu frowned and said. Kakashi smiled and said, "You don't seem very happy." Yu shook his head. "I am happy, but it feels unreal. I still have poor control over my power. I still don't know how powerful the ninjutsu I release is. In battle, such a shortcoming is very fatal." Kakashi was stunned for a moment. Looking at Yu's distressed look, he didn't know what to say. If other ninjas had such powerful power, they would probably be proud of themselves. But Yu was not proud, and he knew where his weakness was at once. "No wonder you were so silent during the 6 years in the ninja school. Control is not something that can be achieved in a day or two. You still have a lot of time. Don't be so anxious." Yu nodded. He also knew that he was too stubborn. How could he control all the power at once? Are there any chakras left? The next ninjutsu will also consume a lot of chakra. Kakashi asked worriedly. Yu has released 2 S-level ninjutsu in succession. And the power is so great. If it were him, just one would consume all the chakra in his body. But Yu didn't seem tired at all. Kakashi couldn't help but marvel at the horror of Yu's chakra. "I'm afraid your chakra volume can be compared with Naruto's now." Kakashi sighed. While gathering chakra, Yu replied, "That's not the case. After all, Naruto has the 9-tailed demon fox sealed in his body. Only a few people in the village know that Naruto is the son of the 4th generation. But the people in the village basically know that he is the 9-tailed Jinchuriki. This is also the reason why Naruto was excluded. Basically, every Jinchuriki in the village will have such an experience. Before the Jinchuriki completely controls the tailed beast in his body, the villagers can't get close. After all, the Jinchuriki will go berserk if he is not careful, and once he goes berserk, it will cause great suffering to all living beings. A Jinchuriki who does not fully master the tailed beast is like a bomb that can explode at any time. No one is willing to gamble with his life." Hearing that Yu actually counted the 9 tails in Naruto's body as his chakra, he was a little helpless. The 9 tails is in Naruto's body. Who can have more chakra than it? There is no one in the entire ninja world. Kakashi doesn't know how much chakra the 1st generation Hokage has. But he doesn't think that the 1st generation Hokage has more chakra than the 9 tails. In fact, the 1st generation Hokage has more chakra than the 9 tails. Yu just finished speaking, and lightning condensed in his hand. Lightning release. Chidori Senbon. Sizzle tilde. Crack tilde. Puff, puff, puff. Yu's hand lightning instantly condensed into hundreds of lightning needles in front of him. These needles burst out in an instant under Yu's urging. Hundreds of lightning needles instantly penetrated hundreds of meters and disappeared into the forest across the lake like raindrops. The main killing power of Chidori Senbon is not by explosion, but by penetration. Yu said, "Let's go to the other side and see how it works." Then he ran over the lake. Kakashi followed closely behind. He also wanted to see the difference between this ninjutsu and the previous Chidori sharp spear. The two came to the forest across the lake and looked at the big tree with several charred holes on the trunk. Yu looked at the situation of the small holes and was very satisfied. The penetration power is very good. It can penetrate such a thick tree trunk across hundreds of meters. If it were a human body, it would not be any different from this big tree. Because he had seen the power of Chidori sharp spear before, Kakashi was not so surprised by the damage caused by Chidori Senbon at this time. After watching more than a dozen trees in succession, Yu finally knew the power limit of Chidori Senbon. It can probably penetrate 15 trees, and the penetration is not bad. Yu nodded with satisfaction. Kakashi smiled bitterly and said, "How can it be not bad? You have to know that this is a lightning Senbon that flew hundreds of meters and can actually penetrate more than a dozen trees. The power is extremely terrifying. As long as you can use these two ninjutsu flexibly in actual combat, elite Jonins can never be your opponents." A 12-year-old elite Jonin, it's amazing to think about it. I was right before, your talent is much stronger than mine, and now your strength has definitely surpassed Mumoto Tangi. Yu shook his head. This is just a ninjutsu. I don't think my actual combat experience is comparable to that of teacher Tangi. Although he has mastered 3S level ninjutsu, Yu is very clear-headed. Mumoto Tangi is an Anbu Jonin. His actual combat experience is much stronger than his own. Kakashi looked at Yu's calm face and was speechless. Your biggest problem is that you are too cautious. With your current strength, even if your actual combat experience is not as good as Yi Tong, you are much stronger than him in terms of hard power. The gap between you and him in hard power is so big that actual combat experience cannot make up for it. I'm afraid it won't be long before you even surpass me. Kakashi sighed. But he didn't envy Yu. He even felt very relieved. After all, Kakashi trained Yu as his personal disciple. His expectation for him is that he can become a powerful and great ninja like the fourth Hokage. He also believes that with Yu's character, he can definitely do it. Chapter 51. Let alone anything else, just the 3 ninjutsu that Yu mastered, which one can't be used as a trump card by a Jonin. And the power of these 3 ninjutsu used by Yu himself is much stronger than that of ordinary Jonin. Especially the lethality of Chidori Sharp Spear and Chidori Thousand Book is really terrifying. The 3 advantages of long range, extreme speed, and terrifying penetration have made these 2 ninjutsu the standard of S-level ninjutsu. Even among S-level ninjutsu, they are powerful. Ordinary S-level ninjutsu can't compare with him at all. Kakashi sighed. It's just you, other ninjas, even Jonins, use 1 chakra is not enough. It's even more impossible to use your effect, I can't do it. Kakashi didn't lie, Yu's ninjutsu uses natural energy converted. But it's not quite the same as the fairy chakra, the difference is that Yu's chakra is accompanied by consciousness. So the matter condensed by his chakra is alive. Just like the wood escape of the first generation of Hokage. It's just that Yu himself doesn't know, and Kakashi doesn't understand either. Yu shook his head and said, I'm under a lot of pressure to use these 2 ninjutsu. With my current chakra, I can only use them twice more at most. In other words, your current chakra can use 5 powerful S-level ninjutsu. Kakashi thought Yu's chakra had been exhausted. After all, he released 3 S-level ninjutsu in succession. And according to the power of Yu's 3 ninjutsu, it definitely consumes more chakra than ordinary S-level ninjutsu. Even so, he can still release chakra. This terrifying amount of chakra has far surpassed him. Thinking of this, Kakashi asked, so, your chakra now has surpassed me. Kakashi remembered clearly that Yu's chakra was not as much as his a few days ago. Even if the chakra in Yu's body is fairy chakra, it shouldn't be so outrageous, right? Yu felt it and said, now my chakra should be a little more than you, Mr. Kakashi. Kakashi didn't know what to say for a moment. Why is your chakra growing so fast? Yu thought about it. Maybe it's because I have more chakra hidden in my body. Kakashi thought about it and it was true. Yu had some mysterious power hidden in his body. Can I use the Sharingan to see the chakra in your body? Kakashi asked. He was a little worried that Yu's chakra growth was not normal. He didn't know whether it was good or bad. If the chakra grew too fast, the body would not be able to support it. Kakashi was worried that Yu's body would not be able to withstand such a huge amount of chakra. Yu nodded. There was no secret in his body. His chakra amount had indeed increased several times these days. Even if he disagreed at this time, no one could stop Kakashi from seeing it. After all, he had the Sharingan. After getting Yu's consent, Kakashi opened his Sharingan. In an instant, Kakashi saw the enormous amount of chakra in Yu's body. This is too terrifying, I can't understand it. The amount of chakra in your body is already very close to Naruto's chakra. You know, in addition to Naruto's own chakra, there is also the chakra of the nine tails in his body. Even if most of the chakra of the nine tails was sealed by the fourth Hokage, the 8-diagram seal of the fourth Hokage can convert the chakra released by the nine tails into Naruto's chakra. Over the years, Naruto's chakra has increased a lot because of this chakra that has escaped. At this time, Naruto was only 12 years old, and his chakra was more than twice that of Kakashi. If the chakra of the nine tails is added, it would be hundreds of times. And Yu's chakra at this time is actually very close to Naruto. This means that Yu's chakra at this time is about twice that of Kakashi. A few days ago, Yu's chakra was not as much as Kakashi's. It was just the level of an ordinary Jonin. It was only a few days. And this was when Yu had just released 3S level ninjutsu. You know, the power of the 3 ninjutsu released by Yu far exceeded his Reikiri. In other words, if Yu had not released those 3 ninjutsu, his chakra would have surpassed Naruto without the nine tails chakra. What level is this? This is an absolute cage level. And Yu is only 12 years old. But the more this is the case, the more worried Kakashi is. Because according to Kakashi's common sense, chakra needs the body to support it. Yu's chakra expanded so much in a short period of time. Come on, can his body hold up? Kakashi looked at Yu and asked worriedly, are you feeling uncomfortable now? You have increased so much chakra in a short period of time, your body must be very uncomfortable, right? Yu looked at Kakashi's worried look and smiled. Don't worry, it should be that after the chakra went out of control that night, my physical fitness has become much stronger, and the chakra also went out of control that night. Yu knew that if he didn't give a suitable reason, Kakashi would definitely be suspicious. Kakashi thought about it, and there was nothing wrong with Yu's reason. Kakashi always felt that there was a powerful force hidden in Yu's body. The outburst that night might be that the force was stimulated. This kind of thing is not uncommon in the ninja world. There are all kinds of strange physiques. But someone as strong as Yu is indeed extremely rare. But Kakashi can understand. It still doesn't work. I'm worried that if your chakra continues to grow, your body won't be able to support it. I'll go find Master Jiraiya if I have a chance, and maybe let him teach you fairy arts. Using fairy arts, I might be able to completely control the power in your body. Yu was stunned for a moment. Master Jiraiya. Seeing Yu's puzzled face, Kakashi thought he didn't know who Jiraiya was. Although he often mentioned it in front of Yu before. But it's normal for people of Yu's age not to know the 3 ninjas of Konoha. In fact, Yu was just wondering why Kakashi thought Jiraiya would be willing to teach him fairy arts. Yu and Jiraiya were not related, and fairy arts were not something that everyone could learn. He didn't think Jiraiya would be willing to teach him fairy arts. Jiraiya took Naruto to practice because Naruto was the son of his disciple. It was equivalent to his disciple's grandson, so it was reasonable for him to take Naruto to practice. But Yu and Jiraiya had nothing to do with each other. Kakashi introduced, Jiraiya-sama is one of the 3 ninjas of Konoha, who are famous in the ninja world. During the Second Ninja World War, he, Orochimaru, and Tsunade-sama were called the 3 ninjas of Konoha. The strength of these 3 people is all at the level of Hokage, very powerful. Jiraiya-sama is the disciple of the 3rd Hokage and the teacher of the 4th Hokage. He knows very powerful senjutsu. The 3rd Hokage said that your physique may be a natural senjutsu body. The chakra in your body should be senjutsu chakra. I think as long as you learn senjutsu, you can control the chakra in your body and prevent that chakra from hurting you. Chapter 52. Yu looked at Kakashi, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. Although he thought Kakashi's idea was naive, how could Jiraiya take him to learn fairy arts? But he could feel that Kakashi's words just now were sincere. He really hoped that he could master the power in his body and was really worried about his safety. At this moment, Kakashi really treated Yu as a personal disciple. Yu was silent. Kakashi thought Yu didn't understand, so he said it again. Yu waved his hand. Teacher Kakashi, I know what you mean, but I think that Master Jiraiya will definitely not be willing to take me to learn fairy arts. Since you said that fairy arts are a very powerful force, and even few people can learn them, do you think that Master Jiraiya will take me to learn? He and I are not related. Looking at Yu's unbelieving look, Kakashi smiled and said, Master Jiraiya is still very enthusiastic. He knows that you have great potential. For the future of the village, he will not refuse. Yu turned his head to look at Kakashi, and asked with a smile, what if he thinks that my power will threaten the village and does not want me to master fairy arts? I think if the 3rd Hokage knew my current strength, I am afraid he would not be as calm as before. Kakashi was stunned. He was too focused on the chakra in Yu's body just now, and completely forgot about the 3rd Hokage. And based on his understanding of Jiraiya, Jiraiya might really be the same as Yu thought. Will think that Yu's strength is growing too fast and is a threat to the village. Kakashi was silent for a long time, but the Chunin exam will be held soon, and the 3rd Hokage will definitely know your situation. Yu spread his hands and said indifferently, then let it be. Yu couldn't think of any good solution. Konoha has too many ways to detect the power in Yu's body. The Hyuga clan, the Yamanaka clan, and the perception-type ninjas, etc. They can all detect the abnormality of Yu's chakra. It is impossible to hide. So Yu didn't want to hide now. He was quite open-minded. He would not do such things as defection unless he was in a desperate situation. After all, he didn't want to wander in the ninja world. Seeing Yu's indifferent look, Kakashi was worried. It seems that we can't let the 3rd Hokage know that you have mastered those ninjutsu just now. Although I trust the 3rd Hokage, I don't think he can be completely confident in you. Although your chakra volume is huge, as long as the 3rd Hokage doesn't master those lethal ninjutsu just now, he shouldn't do anything to you. Don't worry, there are still me and Tongyi to help you in Konoha. If the 3rd Hokage is not good for you, I and Tongyi will not agree. Listening to Kakashi's words, Yu just smiled. He knew that Kakashi was completely concerned about the village. He didn't think Kakashi would betray the village for himself. But Yu didn't care. If he really couldn't stay in Konoha, even if he didn't want to be a rebel, he had to do it. Although he didn't have any big pursuits, he didn't want to die before half of his life. Kakashi, who had a detailed plan for Yu's future just now, completely lost his ambition. Now he just wants to protect Yu. He doesn't want Yu to be like Yamato. Spend the rest of his life in the Anbu. Or spend the rest of his life like the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, being monitored all his life. In fact, if we talk about the miserable nine-tailed Jinchuriki, the worst one is not Naruto, but his mother Uzumaki Kushina. As a person from another village, Uzumaki Kushina was monitored by the Anbu before she married Minato Namikaze. Even most of the time, the place where she lived was covered by the barrier, and she couldn't leave the barrier area at will. You can imagine how miserable she was. At least Naruto was completely free in Konoha, even too free. He could even graffiti on the Hokage rock. If it were an ordinary person, even if he was not shot on the spot, he would have been locked up in a cell long ago. It was the deliberate indulgence of the third generation that made him so unrestrained. Speaking of loneliness, which Jinchuriki is not lonely? But there are not many people who are as free as Naruto. The most outrageous thing is that so many villagers, relatives were killed by the Nine Tails during the Nine Tails Rebellion. The villagers of Konoha village were so rational that they didn't assassinate Naruto. You should know that Killer Bee was often assassinated by people in the village because the previous 8 Tails Jinchuriki went berserk and caused the deaths and injuries of villagers. And the villagers of Konoha village just rejected Naruto. It's really hard to imagine that they can be so rational. And being monitored by the Anbu, but not at all better. Kakashi, who had been in the Anbu for a long time, knew it very well, because it was the 4th Hokage who sent him to protect Uzumaki Kushina. Although it was said to be protection, it was actually for the purpose of surveillance. Of course, Minato Namikaze naturally had no intention of harming Uzumaki Kushina, but was just worried that Uzumaki Kushina would go berserk because of pregnancy. But in any case, people who were monitored by the Anbu would definitely feel very uncomfortable. Kakashi didn't want Yu to live that kind of life in the future. But Kakashi really couldn't think of any way to help Yu. All he could do was to help Yu hide it from the 3rd Hokage, so that he wouldn't know that Yu had mastered 3 powerful S-level ninjutsu. But Yu wasn't too worried. After all, Yu was a ninja of Konoha no matter what. Under the premise that he didn't indicate that he would oppose Konoha village, the 3rd Hokage wouldn't do anything to him. If there really was a genius in the village, the 3rd Hokage would get rid of him, and Konoha village would have collapsed long ago. Looking at Kakashi, Yu smiled and said, "Don't worry too much. I don't think the 3rd Hokage will do that." Kakashi's expression was complicated. He was not as confident in the 3rd Hokage as Yu was. He had been in the Anbu for too long and was very clear about the other side of the 3rd Hokage. But Yu was right. Yu was a ninja of Konoha after all. Except for the Uchiha clan, the 3rd Hokage was not really very extreme towards other ninjas of Konoha. At least not as extreme as Danzo. But Danzo was only very extreme towards the Uchiha clan. As for other people in Konoha, as long as it did not affect his being the Hokage, he would not care. Even those who did not conform to his philosophy would not be absorbed into the root no matter how powerful they were. For example, Kai. Kai asked Danzo to let him enter the root, but Danzo refused. The 3rd Hokage and Danzo dealt with the Uchiha clan because they inherited the ideas of the 2nd Hokage. I think the Uchiha clan is very extreme and are all potential patients with mental illness. Apart from the Uchiha clan, these two people really didn't do anything extreme to the ninjas of other families in Konoha. Even if they targeted the Uchiha clan, it was because of the Nine Tails Rebellion. After all, when the Nine Tails came out of the cage, those big eyes were topped with 2-3 Magatama Sharingan. Even if the 3rd generation didn't want to target the Uchiha clan, there was nothing he could do. After all, almost all the villagers saw it that night. It's impossible not to suspect the Uchiha clan. But Yu is different. Yu was born a commoner and there is no interference from the family behind him. At most, he will become a figure like the 4th Hokage in the future. This is also the reason why Yu is not too worried. Although the 3rd generation is sometimes a bit insidious, he is not a psychopath. He will kill whoever has a higher talent. Chapter 53. Originally, Kakashi wanted to wait for Jiraiya to return to the village, and then ask Jiraiya to take Yu to Myoboku Mountain to learn fairy arts. But after talking with Yu just now, he thought it was better to forget it. Maybe when you go out on a mission in the future, you can find out where the 3 holy places are. Someone in the ninja world should know the location of the 3 holy places. Although it is unlikely to ask Jiraiya, Kakashi still did not give up finding a place for Yu to practice fairy arts. He was worried that if Yu's chakra continued to grow, his body would not be able to bear it. Yu walked to the lake and said calmly, "Actually, I think you are worrying too much. I don't feel any discomfort at all now. With my current physical fitness, there should be no pressure to carry this little chakra." Yu is naturally very clear about the situation of his chakra in his body. If his body can't bear so much chakra, there won't be so much chakra in his body. When his body can't bear more chakra one day, it means that the growth of chakra in his body has stopped. At least now Yu's chakra is still doubling every day. But Yu can also feel that in a few days, his chakra growth will stop, at least not as fast as it is now. Kakashi walked to Yu and said seriously, "You can't take it lightly, chakra matters can't be taken lightly. There are many ninjas in the ninja world who are seriously injured because their physical fitness can't keep up with the chakra in their bodies. By the way, speaking of the 3 holy places, you should have your own summoning beast now." Yu looked at Kakashi. "I don't think you need it yet." Kakashi said helplessly, "It's a pity that my summoning beast is more of a reconnaissance type, which is not suitable for you." Yu felt uncomfortable when he thought that his future summoning beasts would be a bunch of ninja dogs. "How about you sign a summoning contract with my summoning beast first? There is no limit to summoning beasts. For example, Sasuke has 2 summoning beasts. It depends on whether your chakra can summon the summoning beast." Yu smiled awkwardly. "Forget it, your summoning beast may not be suitable for me." Kakashi thought about it and agreed. After finding the 3 holy places, you can sign a summoning contract with them when you have the chance. The 4th Hokage's summoning contract was signed with Myoboku Mountain. The same is true for Master Jiraiya. Yu was a little confused, and looked at Kakashi and asked, "Teacher Kakashi, it stands to reason that you are the disciple of the 4th Hokage, so your summoning beast should be the same as his, right?" Master Jiraiya is the teacher of the 4th Hokage, and the 4th Hokage's summoning beast is the same as Master Jiraiya's. "Why didn't you inherit this?" Kakashi smiled and said, "Because my summoning beast is very suitable for me, and I don't need another summoning beast at all." "Do you know what my summoning beast is?" After Kakashi finished speaking, he looked at Yu with a smile on his face. He just realized that when Yu said that his summoning beast was not suitable for him, it seemed that he knew what his summoning beast was. Yu did not hide it and admitted generously, "Well, I knew it when I looked up your information. In the Konoha library, the information of many famous ninjas can be found. It's just that they are all well-known information." So after Kakashi heard it, he didn't think it was strange. "It just seems that Yu dislikes his summoning beast. So you don't like my summoning beast?" Kakashi looked at Yu with a cold look. Yu was a little embarrassed and turned to look at the lake. "Teacher Kakashi, teach me a few more water-style ninjutsu. You must know a lot of water-style ninjutsu." Such a poor way to change the subject. Kakashi chuckled. "You are still too young. Do you think it is not cool to use a ninja dog as a summoning beast?" Yu quickly denied. "No, I think it is good." Yu really doesn't like Kakashi's ninja dogs. It's not that he has any opinion on them. But those ninja dogs really have no killing power and have not improved Yu's combat effectiveness. It is estimated that when the battle comes, Yu will be needed to protect them. Kakashi naturally didn't believe it and snorted coldly. "You say one thing and mean another, but forget it, you will know it later. What water ninjutsu do you want to learn?" Yu thought for a while and said, "I want to learn a few defensive water ninjutsu." "Defensive water ninjutsu? Let me think about it. I have it. I will teach you the water array wall. This ninjutsu is AB level ninjutsu with moderate difficulty. It can be said that it is not difficult for you. Any difficulty in learning?" Listen carefully, I will explain the principle of this ninjutsu to you once. After Kakashi explained it to Yu once, Yu mastered it. Kakashi did not demonstrate to Yu, but asked, "If I don't demonstrate to you, can you figure it out by yourself?" "I think with your ability, there must be no problem." Kakashi wanted to know how strong Yu's talent was. Before, Yu learned the water dragon bullet technique from Zabuza on the spot. Yu did not refuse, nodded, and walked to the lake. Standing by the lake, Yu concentrated and condensed the chakra in his body. Suddenly, Yu clapped his hands and quickly formed a seal. Water-style water array wall. As Yu urged the chakra, the lake water seemed to be sucked up by something. It rushed towards Yu. Boom boom. The lake water surged. It came to Yu and spun around him madly. Walla. Soon, the water that was spinning rapidly around Yu formed a huge water tornado. These water tornadoes have even triggered a small storm, blowing the grass by the lake to the ground. After the water flow hit the ground, a gully was washed out on the ground. A water tornado with a width of more than 10 meters has formed around Yu. Standing in the distance, Kakashi looked at this scene and twitched his mouth slightly. Is this still a water formation wall? This is a combined ninjutsu. There are already signs of wind escape in it. And the scale of this technique is really too large. However, Kakashi was not very shocked by this ninjutsu. After all, compared with the 3 ninjutsu released by Yu before, the power of this water array wall is already very small. Although it is more powerful than the normal water array wall. Being in the center of the water tornado, Yu put his hands together and his eyes were slightly focused. Concentrate the chakra in the body again. The water flow that was originally spinning wildly around Yu stopped quickly. Then the lake water formed a giant water curtain in front of Yu that was more than 10 meters high and dozens of meters wide. Kakashi smiled. This is the water array wall. The ninjutsu you just used has obviously added the form change of wind escape. The giant water curtain that Yu condensed this time is the water array wall. The water array wall he released just now was obviously offensive. Kakashi knew that the ninjutsu just now must have been a sudden idea of Yu himself to add wind escape. This kind of thing is very dangerous for ordinary ninjas. If you change the ninjutsu casually, you may even be attacked by the ninjutsu in serious cases. But Yu does not have such a problem. He has very precise control over chakra. Kakashi was a little worried before, but Yu could control the dangerous ninjutsu of lightning escape freely before, and now he just made a combination of water escape and wind escape, so Kakashi was not very surprised. Chapter 54. The huge water curtain stayed in front of Yu for more than 10 seconds before Yu withdrew his chakra. Splash. Without Yu's chakra to maintain it, the huge water curtain collapsed instantly, flooding the surrounding area into a small lake. A huge amount of water requires a huge amount of chakra to maintain. To maintain such a huge water curtain, at least Jonin level chakra is needed. Very strong, much stronger than I thought. And you just integrated the wind escape into the water array wall, right? Kakashi said as he walked over. Yu looked at the water flowing under his feet and nodded. I feel that such ninjutsu will not be very useful in battle. Kakashi smiled and said, this is a defensive ninjutsu, which is still very useful to resist fire escape. There are many ninjas in the ninja world who are very powerful in fire escape, such as the 3rd generation of Hokage. Although the 3rd generation of Hokage is proficient in all 5 escapes, he is best at fire escape and earth escape. The temperature of the 3rd generation of Hokage's fire escape ninjutsu is much higher than that of the Uchiha clan. The lethality is even stronger. Ordinary water escape ninjutsu can't resist his fire escape ninjutsu at all. But I think the water array wall you just used can block it. Thinking of the 3rd generation of fire escape, Kakashi had to admit that it was very strong. The 3rd generation of Hokage's fire escape can really break through the attribute restraint and completely break through the water escape. You can imagine how powerful his fire escape is. Yu Yu remembered that the third generation of fire escape is indeed powerful. When he fought the impure world reincarnation of the first and second Hokage, his fire style could even cancel out the water style of the second Hokage. You should know that the second Hokage is best at water style ninjutsu. But he could actually compete with the water style of the second Hokage, even when his chakra attribute was restrained. Teacher Kakashi, are the Uchiha clan good at fire style? Yu Yu asked knowingly. Kakashi didn't know that Yu Yu knew about the Uchiha clan, so he introduced him. The Uchiha clan is the strongest ninja clan in Konoha's fire escape. They have many self-created fire escape ninjutsu, which is much more powerful than other ninjas. Self-created fire escape ninjutsu. Kakashi nodded. Yes, such as the Great Fireball technique, which was improved by the Uchiha clan into the Great Fireball technique. In fact, it is a kind of ninjutsu, but the power of the Great Fireball technique is far greater than the Great Fireball technique. I have seen Uchiha Itachi use it. Yu Yu was stunned for a moment. Uchiha Itachi. When talking about Uchiha Itachi, Kakashi looked solemn. He fell into memories. Well, Uchiha Itachi was once my colleague in the Anbu. He was a very talented ninja, but it was a pity that he betrayed the village and the family in the end. Kakashi didn't know why the Uchiha clan massacred his family. Although Kakashi knew that the truth would never be as simple as what the village leaders said. But he was not a member of the Uchiha clan, so he did not go into it. He just felt it was a pity. After all, the Uchiha clan was Obito's clan, and Uchiha Itachi was also a ninja he was very optimistic about. If Kakashi knew that it was Obito and Uchiha Itachi who jointly slaughtered the Uchiha clan, I'm afraid he would regret saying it was a pity. Yu Yu thought for a while and said, I don't know why Uchiha Itachi left Sasuke. At that time, Sasuke should not have had any ability to resist, right? Kakashi looked at Yu Yu, because Sasuke is Uchiha Itachi's younger brother, and it is precisely because of this that Sasuke hates Uchiha Itachi very much. When I asked him what his dream was before, he said that his dream was to kill Uchiha Itachi himself. Yu Yu was silent. He didn't know what to say. It's really miserable to say that Sasuke. If the Uchiha clan had not been exterminated, Sasuke would definitely not have the personality he has today. Before the Uchiha clan was exterminated, Sasuke's personality was actually very cheerful and sunny. Although he was also aloof in school, it was completely different from now. Before, his aloofness was pretended because he was the best and most outstanding student in the class, proud and aloof. But since the Uchiha clan was exterminated, his aloofness means that he doesn't want to care about the affairs of the outside world. He just wants to work hard to become stronger, kill Uchiha Itachi, and avenge the Uchiha clan. He hid his feelings and had to hide them. In fact, Sasuke has always been a very kind person in his heart. In a sense, Naruto is indeed in a much better situation than him. Naruto has at least been taken care of by the 3 generations, and at least he has friends like Shikamaru, Choji, and Inuzuka Kiba who are willing to skip classes with him. He has never been loved by his family, but he doesn't know how does a Taoist feel. Even if he is sad, it will not affect his will. But Sasuke originally had a very happy family, a strict father and a kind mother, and a genius brother whom he admired very much. But in the end, it was his most admired brother who slaughtered his family, and even his parents were not spared. And when he left, he replayed how the family members were slaughtered. That kind of pain made Sasuke want to become stronger. In fact, Yu Yu could see that Sasuke also had a good impression of Sakura. When he was attacked before, Sasuke stood in front of Sakura at the first time. You have to know that it was Sasuke's first actual combat. Actual combat and usual practice are completely different concepts. But he basically stood in front of Sakura without thinking. This has proved that although Sasuke never expressed any emotions to Sakura in normal times, but he must have a good impression of Sakura in his heart. Yu Yu can also understand Sasuke's pain. He can't even imagine if he would go crazy if he experienced the same experience as Sasuke. I'm afraid he will be more extreme than Sasuke. When Yu came to this world, he thought it was exciting to grow up with Naruto. After all, in his previous life, Yu was indeed moved by Naruto's passion. But after coming to this world, he spent 6 years with Naruto, and he had no interest in Naruto. Because Yu originally thought that Naruto was excellent for not going to extremes in the dark environment in the early stage. But when he came to this world and saw many things Naruto did, as well as several friends around him, Yu couldn't empathize with him at all. Because in his previous life, Yu had seen too many cases like Naruto. They didn't even have such good conditions as Naruto. After all, Naruto had been watched by the third generation. As a Jinchuriki, he actually moved freely in the village, and his pranks were particularly big. He even dared to graffiti on the Hokage rock. It can be said that Yu admired Naruto for not turning evil before. But after being his classmate for 6 years, Yu knew that it was normal for Naruto not to turn evil. He had friends around him, he was not short of money, he often skipped classes, and he got 0 points in every exam, but he was not expelled. This kind of treatment was the treatment of the Prince of Konoha. Why did he turn evil? Without parents and family, are there not many children like this in Konoha? Konoha originally had many war orphans. Their situations were much worse than Naruto, and many of them were killed by the Nine Tails during the Nine Tails Rebellion. Chapter 55. And many people are not qualified to go to the ninja school. The ninja school only enrolls 30 people every year, so you can imagine how many people are not qualified at all. But Naruto went to school. Not only did he go, but he was not expelled even though he scored that high in every exam. Yu felt that if it were him, he would be so happy, not to mention turning evil. Sasuke saw Uchiha Itachi kill his parents with his own eyes. Uchiha Itachi played back to him how the members of the Uchiha clan were hacked to death one by Uchiha Itachi. The fear, despair, and confusion of those members before they died could make Sasuke, who was only 6 years old at the time, collapse countless times. Naruto did not see his parents killed by the Nine Tails with his own eyes, but Sasuke saw with his own eyes how Uchiha Itachi hacked to death the members of the clan who usually cared about him one by one. On that bloody night, if it were Yu himself, he would probably have gone to extremes long ago. Kindness. After experiencing such a thing, Yu felt that as long as he could gain the power to kill Uchiha Itachi, it didn't matter how many people died. After experiencing such things, people can't be rational. At least Yu knew that he would definitely not be able to resign and could never maintain his inner kindness. But Sasuke did it. He loved his family and his people very much. So he was crazy about getting power. Even if he risked being taken away by Orochimaru, he still went. But when he followed Orochimaru, Sasuke never killed innocent people indiscriminately, even if they were ninjas who had nothing to do with him, he never killed them indiscriminately. The most important thing is that he was taught by Orochimaru, and being able to maintain such a mentality is enough to show how kind he is in his heart. It's just that there is no mature person to guide him on the road of life. Kakashi's thoughts are quite mature, but he is not strong enough. Before coming to this world, Yu admired Naruto very much. After coming to this world, he admired Sasuke the most. Of course, Yu didn't want to meddle in other people's business. Yu would not change his future path just because he admired him. Life is meaningful only when you experience it yourself. Only the truth you have learned can be remembered forever. Kakashi saw Yu like this, so he patted his shoulder. Now you know why Sasuke is like that. But I still hope you can change him. Yu was stunned and looked up at Kakashi. Looking puzzled. Me. Kakashi nodded. Yes, when I was sinking, it was my companions who pulled me out. I hope you can do it too, and you are strong enough. Sasuke is a proud person. The same words you say in Naruto will definitely have different effects. Yu shook his head. I am willing to do it, but I don't think it is a good idea to interfere with Sasuke's choice. Especially for people of this age, the more you interfere, the more rebellious they are. At most, you can only guide him. The more you interfere, the more he will go to the other side. Kakashi sighed. I know it, but I don't want him to go astray. In order to gain power, he will do many things that violate the village regulations. Yu did not speak. Sasuke will really defect from Konoha in the future. But Yu didn't expect Kakashi to have such an idea. It seems that he really knows Sasuke very well. Compared with Naruto, Kakashi really pays more attention to Sasuke. Yu can understand it. After all, Kakashi's fighting style and ninjutsu style are more suitable for Sasuke. In addition to the influence of Uchiha Obito, it is normal for Kakashi to pay more attention to Sasuke. And Kakashi really can't teach Naruto anything. Not long after the Chunin exam, Jiraiya returned to the village again. Yu doesn't think Jiraiya really came back by chance. It is impossible that Jiraiya plans to take Naruto to practice in person just because Naruto said a few words. If other ninjas go to Jiraiya and say that they want to learn ninjutsu from him, do you think Jiraiya's personality will tell him to get out? So Jiraiya returned to the village during the Chunin exam because he knew that Naruto had graduated from the ninja school and wanted to take him in person. Does Kakashi still dare not let him go? Yu looked at Kakashi's worried look and smiled. Teacher Kakashi, you just think too much. With Sasuke's character, even if he does something that violates Konoha's rules in the future, he will not do anything extremely evil. His character is quite normal. Kakashi said helplessly. I hope so. Speaking of Sasuke, I also want to teach you how to deal with Sharingan. In addition to copying ninjutsu, the most important thing about Sharingan is that it can also release illusions. This is very important. Even if your ninjutsu is very strong, if you don't know how to deal with illusions, it is easy to fall into the gutter. Yu nodded, agreeing with Kakashi's words. That's true, but illusions are really hard to defend, especially illusions released by the Sharingan. The illusions released by the Sharingan are different from ordinary illusions. He knew very well how the illusion master Yuhi Kurenai was instantly killed by Uchiha Itachi. Don't look at Yuhi Kurenai's poor performance in the illusion battle with Uchiha Itachi. But she is already the strongest illusion among the Jonin. After all, she is a Jonin who is upgraded by illusion. And she is not a special Jonin, but a formal Jonin like Kakashi, Asuma and Kai. It is conceivable that her strength will definitely not be bad, and she still uses illusion as the main fighting method. Even such an illusion master was reversed by Uchiha Itachi in just a moment. In addition to showing Uchiha Itachi's attainments in illusion, the most important thing about this battle is that the ability of the Sharingan is too amazing. Not only it was Uchiha Itachi. Sharingan has always been a headache in the ninja world. Many ninja villages have been forced to research ways to deal with Sharingan. It is conceivable that the ninjas in the ninja world are afraid of Sharingan, and it can also be seen that Sharingan is powerful. Yuyu's chakra is huge, and pure combat ninjutsu has mastered 3S level ninjutsu. If it is just a head-on confrontation, Yuyu is not afraid of most of the Jonin. But Sharingan can turn all of Yuyu's combat power into nothingness with one glance. It's just one glance. No matter how powerful the ninjutsu is, it must be released and hit the target. Kakashi said. In fact, it's not that there is no way. Over the years, the ninja world has also had many ways to deal with Sharingan. It's just that many of them are not very useful. But you have an innate advantage, that is, your perception ability is extremely strong. Yuyu was stunned for a moment. Do you mean that I should close my eyes when facing Sharingan and fight by perception? Quote. Kakashi nodded. Yes, if it is another ninja, it may not be easy to master. But I know your perception ability, it is extremely strong, so strong that it can replace vision. And it is dynamic vision at the level of Sharingan. Just like when you use Chidori, you can move at such a fast speed and hit the target accurately. Only you have this ability, even I can't do it. Chapter 56. Yu Yu thought about it, and his perception ability has indeed become extremely powerful now. It's just that Yu Yu has gotten used to it and didn't treat it as something special. I'm not used to fighting with my perception ability. Although Yu Yu's perception ability is very strong, he has never tried to fight mainly with his perception ability. He only uses Chidori as an auxiliary ability when using it. And after verifying, Chidori Sharp Spear, and Chidori 1000 Books, Chidori is no longer the main attack method for Yu Yu. After all, Chidori still needs close combat, and the attack efficiency is not high, and it is easy for the opponent to catch the flaw and counterattack. Kakashi said, "Then practice, your perception ability is very strong, and you can't waste this ability." Thinking that he may have to face the Mangekyo Sharingan or even the Samsara Eye in the future, Yu Yu thinks he should practice it. After all, the Sharingan is the most important blood limit in this world. The Fourth Ninja World War was caused by a few people who had Sharingan, Samsara Eye, and Samsara Sharingan. Yu Yu didn't have Sharingan, so it was impossible for him to take the route of improving his eyes. He could only take Naruto's route, relying on powerful chakra and ninjutsu to deal with the Fourth Ninja World War. Although Yu Yu himself did not have the power of the Six Paths, Yu Yu felt that he would not necessarily be weaker than Naruto in the Fourth Ninja World War. He believed in the ability of the system. Yu Yu nodded and said, "I will, Mr. Kakashi, continue to teach me a few attribute ninjutsu." Seeing that Yu Yu listened, Kakashi was very satisfied. Yu Yu's good point is that he is not as strange as Naruto and Sasuke. Yu Yu's personality is very normal, and he doesn't have any strange ideas at all. The two practiced for several hours beside the lake, and they didn't finish their practice until dark. And in a few hours, Kakashi's chakra was almost exhausted. Because he needed to demonstrate some ninjutsu to Yu Yu. Yu Yu learns very quickly. Kakashi explains the principle of each ninjutsu once and demonstrates it at most, and Yu Yu has mastered it. So in a few hours, Yu Yu has mastered more than a dozen A-level and B-level attribute ninjutsu. Fortunately, not every ninjutsu needs Kakashi to demonstrate. Otherwise, even if Kakashi is squeezed dry, it is impossible to provide enough chakra to release more than a dozen A-level and B-level ninjutsu within a few hours. But Kakashi's chakra is almost exhausted, while Yu Yu's chakra has not been consumed by 1/3. On the way back, Kakashi looked at Yu Yu who was not affected at all. Very speechless. "Aren't you tired at all?" Yu Yu smiled. "Not tired. You just released more than a dozen A-level and B-level ninjutsu, the chakra consumption is very large, right?" Kakashi guessed. Yu Yu shook his head and said, "I didn't consume much chakra. My chakra replenishes very quickly. This is also one of Yu Yu's strengths, that is, chakra recovers very quickly. Because his chakra is not extracted from his own body. It is the natural energy absorbed from the surroundings. Although the natural energy around is not inexhaustible, it is obvious that there is no pressure to provide Yu Yu with the amount of chakra at the level of Kage. You know, after the end of the Fourth Ninja World War, Naruto extracted enough natural energy to deal with Sasuke's extraction of the chakra of the eight-tailed beasts. In comparison, Yu Yu's chakra is nothing. What's more, natural energy can be regenerated all the time. As long as the energy of this planet is not consumed, natural energy will continue to regenerate continuously. And the reason why Yu Yu's chakra is only at the level of Kage is not that he can only absorb Kage-level chakra. It is that his body can only withstand Kage-level chakra now. If there is more, his body can't bear it. After all, Yu Yu's body was not a special constitution at the beginning, and it began to strengthen slowly after getting the system. Now his chakra amount is almost the same as Naruto's, which is very good. However, because it is natural energy, for the same ninjutsu, Yu Yu needs to consume much less chakra than ordinary ninjas. Kakashi didn't know that Yu Yu had such an ability. Somewhat curious, replenishment is very fast. Yes, after I released 3 lightning ninjutsu before, the chakra was almost consumed, but it recovered in a short time. Kakashi didn't believe it. Immediately opened the Sharingan and found that Yu's chakra had recovered 80%. Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. You just released more than a dozen large-scale ninjutsu, why doesn't the chakra seem to be consumed? Yu smiled. I don't know either. My chakra recovers very quickly. Quote. Kakashi shook his head. It's really annoying to compare yourself to others. Not only do you have more chakra than me, but you recover faster than me. The key is that your ninjutsu is more powerful than mine. Who is the teacher? Yu looked at Kakashi seriously and said, if a student can't surpass the teacher in the end, what's the point of being a student? Kakashi was stunned for a moment. Looking at Yu's serious face. Kakashi smiled knowingly. Yes, if a student can't surpass the teacher, then I am a failure as a teacher. But only you can say these words. After all, not everyone can surpass me. This is not because Kakashi is arrogant, but because he is a genius, if he hadn't been in decline for a period of time before. The strength is definitely much stronger than it is now. Of course, no matter how strong it is only at the level of Kage at most. But how many Kage-level strongmen are there in the ninja world? Let alone Kage-level strongmen, even elite Jonin, most ninjas will never reach it in their lifetime. For most ninjas, Chunin is the end of their ninja career. But Yu is different. In Kakashi's view, Yu's talent has far surpassed him. Kakashi even thinks that Yu now only lacks practical experience. As long as this shortcoming is made up, Yu's strength will be enough to surpass him. But Kakashi just feels relieved. Yu naturally knows that Kakashi is not arrogant, and nodded and said, of course, after all, Kakashi teacher is very strong. There are not many ninjas who can reach your strength. Yu flattered him a little. Although Kakashi didn't care about other people's flattery, this was flattery from his own disciples. Kakashi still found it very useful. Let's go see how Naruto and Sasuke are training. Kakashi said. Yu smiled and said, these two people are still very talented, and they both have great power in their bodies. Kakashi nodded, yes, although Sakura is much better than them in controlling chakra. But the amount of chakra is not much, while Naruto and Sasuke have huge chakra in their bodies. As long as the two can master the chakra in their bodies, their strength will increase very quickly. Kakashi knew very well how to teach the two. It's a pity that the last two people, one followed Jiraiya and the other followed Orochimaru. Chapter 57. Kakashi actually had his own teaching methods for the two. It was just that Jiraiya's appearance and Sasuke's thirst for power were beyond his expectations. The two came to the place where Sasuke, Naruto and the other two were training. Although it was dark, the two still saw that the two were already standing on the top of the tree panting. Sakura stood under the tree and looked at the two. Yu and Kakashi appeared, and Sakura came over. Especially looking up and down at Yu. Curiously asked, Yu, have you really practiced? How come I can't see it? Oh, how do you know I didn't practice? Sakura circled around Yu and said, your clothes are not even wrinkled, how could you practice? Did you slack off with teacher Kakashi for an afternoon? That won't work. Although you are very strong, if you don't practice hard, you will stay where you are, and then you will be surpassed by Sasuke or even Naruto. Yu smiled and said nothing. Kakashi interrupted Sakura and said, how are they? Kakashi asked Sasuke and Naruto. Sakura smiled and said, they have all mastered it. Even Naruto is working hard to practice. Sakura looked at Yu while she spoke. It was obvious that she was saying it for Yu to hear. She didn't have any ill will towards Yu. Instead, she was worried that Yu would be lazy and his strength would decline. Yu knew her little thoughts, but she didn't say anything. There was no need to say anything. Kakashi looked up at Sasuke and Naruto, who were standing on the top of the tree panting and looking at each other. The two were obviously competing. It's really fast. Sasuke is fine, but Naruto has mastered it so quickly. Sakura looked at Kakashi curiously and asked, "Teacher Kakashi, you didn't slack off just now. Did you find a place to rest?" Although Sakura thought Yu would be lazy, she didn't dare to confirm it. Kakashi said calmly, "Do you think he will? Even if I want to rest, he won't let me rest." Sakura looked at Yu and was confused, but why doesn't Yu have any signs of training? Kakashi also looked at Yu, and he just noticed it. Even Kakashi's own clothes had a few holes. Kakashi was speechless. Indeed, there is indeed no sign of training. This is the gap. Kakashi said something that Sakura couldn't understand. At this time, she looked at Kakashi Yu with a confused face. Chikara can be controlled to such a precise level, it's better than me. Kakashi looked at Yu and smiled. Yu didn't say anything, just smiled faintly. Sakura walked up to Yu and whispered, "What is Kakashi-sensei saying?" Yu said, "Kakashi-sensei just said something that I couldn't understand." Sakura looked at Yu, then at Kakashi. She always felt that Kakashi and Yu were hiding something from her. Seeing that the two of them didn't say anything, Sakura didn't want to dwell on this issue anymore. She came up to Yu and said, "Yu, where did you go to practice just now? There were several earthquakes before, and I almost thought it was Zabuza who attacked me. If it wasn't for the loud noise, I almost thought it was him." Yu was stunned for a moment. "Earthquake?" Sakura nodded. Yes, the noise was quite loud. Because the place where Yu and Kakashi practiced was quite far from Sakura's side. And there was a forest blocking the way. She didn't know that the earthquake was released by Yu. Yu looked at Kakashi, and then said, "Maybe this place is in an earthquake zone. After all, it is normal for earthquakes to occur in the terrain of the land of waves." Sakura did not delve into it, she believed what Yu said. The earthquakes that Sakura mentioned were actually the Chidori that Yu released at the beginning and the several Earth Escape ninjutsu that he released later. Although Earth Escape is mainly a defensive ninjutsu, it does make a lot of noise when it is activated. And it consumes a lot of chakra. This is why Kakashi's chakra is consumed so quickly. Several Earth Escape ninjutsu consume too much chakra. Sasuke and Naruto, who were standing on the tree, noticed the appearance of Kakashi and Yu, and wanted to come down from the tree. But both of them forgot that their chakra had been exhausted. So when they just wanted to walk down from the tree, they ran out of chakra after just a few steps. Sasuke, Naruto tilde. Sakura under the tree saw the two people jumping down from the tree and screamed in fear. Kakashi looked at Yu. Yu nodded. Just when Sasuke and Naruto felt their brains go blank and almost fainted. Kakashi and Yu disappeared on the spot. The next moment, Yu appeared beside Naruto, and Kakashi appeared beside Sasuke. The two grabbed the two by the waist. In an instant, Kakashi turned into a blue lightning and appeared on the ground, while Yu turned into a golden lightning and appeared on the ground. After putting Sasuke and Naruto down, Kakashi smiled and said, "You are faster than me." Naruto and Sasuke, who were put on the ground, reacted at this time. Thinking of being rescued by Kakashi and Yu just now, the two looked at each other and felt very embarrassed. Originally, the two wanted to show off their afternoon training results in front of Yu and Kakashi. Unexpectedly, they made a mistake. Naruto looked at Yu, and just now he only felt that he appeared on the ground in front of his eyes. This time was the first time Naruto personally experienced the power of Yu. Even Sasuke was very shocked when he looked at Yu. Just now, when he saw Yu appear beside Naruto, the golden lightning was too fast. He had never seen Yu show such a state before. Sasuke knew before that he was not Yu's opponent yet. But now it seems that the gap between the two is already a chasm. The gap is too big. Sakura was also stunned. She could understand Kakashi, she was originally an elite Jonin. But Yu turned into a golden lightning just now, and his speed was even faster than Kakashi. so fast that she could only see the afterimage of the golden lightning. Sakura murmured to herself, "Is this the ninjutsu he just learned from Kakashi teacher? That is the lightning ninjutsu, he has never shown it before. I just said that he didn't practice it, how could he be lazy? Sakura, you are so stupid, if he is such a person, he won't be so much stronger than us." Sakura felt that her behavior of doubting Yu just now was stupid. Thinking that Yu just smiled, she felt like a clown, and it was embarrassing to think about it now. For a moment, Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura were silent. Yu and Kakashi didn't notice the status of the three. Kakashi looked at the two and said, "Your chakra consumption is too great, and the action just now is too dangerous." Chapter 58. Kakashi's reproach made Sasuke and Naruto lower their heads in shame. Originally, the two wanted to show off to Kakashi and Yu. Unexpectedly, they backfired. Yu also saw the two of them looking so embarrassed. But soon, Naruto stood up and pointed at Yu and said, "Teacher Kakashi, did you just teach Yu some powerful ninjutsu? I have never seen the ninjutsu he used to save me just now." Sasuke also stood up, but he just patted the dust off his body, and his attention was all on Yu. He wanted to know what was going on. He also wanted to know whether Kakashi really had any powerful ninjutsu, and whether he could learn that ninjutsu from Kakashi in the future. Naruto didn't have the same idea as Sasuke, he just felt that Kakashi was too partial. He was his student, but he only taught Yu and not himself. Seeing Naruto's angry look, Kakashi said, "You haven't even mastered chakra control, how can I teach you ninjutsu? When you have a good foundation, I will naturally teach you ninjutsu." Hearing Kakashi's words, Sasuke nodded secretly. It seems that Kakashi taught that ninjutsu of Yu. Naruto didn't think too much, but proudly said, "I have completely mastered chakra control, Teacher Kakashi, start teaching me ninjutsu tomorrow." Kakashi shook his head, "You still have a lot to learn, this is just the beginning." "Then how can Yu learn? We are your students," Naruto said indignantly. Kakashi frowned. "I said, your foundation is still very poor, there are still many things to master. Also, Yu is my student." Even Kakashi wanted to say that Yu was his most important student. If it weren't for the fact that Sasuke and Naruto's identities had special significance to Konoha, he would definitely not bring them. After noticing Kakashi's serious tone, even Naruto didn't say anything. He just looked at Yu with envy and jealousy. Although Naruto would not hate Yu because of Kakashi's words, but he must be very jealous of Yu. After all, Yu was not originally in their team, and Kakashi insisted on bringing him to perform the mission. Kakashi did a lot of things, and in Naruto's opinion, Kakashi was definitely partial to Yu. Originally, his feelings were very sensitive, and he was even more sensitive to such things. He even thought that Kakashi treated him differently because he was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. But he forgot that Sasuke and Sakura were also treated this way. But the two did not think that Kakashi treated him differently. Because both of them knew how strong Yu was, and they could see it when they fought against Zabuza before. Yu's strength was much stronger than theirs. Both of them knew that Yu could be so much stronger than them at the same age, or Yu worked harder than them. Or maybe Yu is more talented than them. Sasuke only thinks that Yu must work harder than him, and he doesn't admit that Yu is more talented than him. Sakura thinks that Yu is very talented and works very hard. Naruto simply thinks that Kakashi is biased. Kakashi is one of the few high-level ninjas who don't reject him, and he is also his teacher, so Naruto has high expectations for Kakashi. He cares more about Kakashi's feelings for him, and he doesn't care much about his strength. Yu also had a headache when he heard Kakashi say that so seriously. He knew that Kakashi just wanted to protect himself. But if that happens, Naruto will feel that Kakashi is biased, and he may even hate Yu for it. Although helpless, Yu didn't want to say anything. At this time, he'd better keep silent and don't say anything. The more he talks, the more irritating Naruto will be. After all, he is emotionally sensitive. Seeing that no one spoke, Kakashi said, "Okay, we've all been training hard today, let's go back and rest." After saying that, he disappeared. Yu looked at the empty place, and his mouth twitched slightly. He thought to himself, "You only care about killing and not burying, leaving me to deal with it." Yu was speechless. Kakashi obviously knew that the mood of several people was not right at this time. He left Yu, probably because he wanted Yu to be alone with Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura. To cultivate the relationship between Yu and them. But in this situation, Yu didn't want to stay here at all. It's really irresponsible. After Yu criticized Kakashi in his heart, he could only say to the three people, "Let's go too." Although he also wanted to use the instant body technique to leave, if he did so, Sasuke and Naruto would probably be even more unfair. Seeing that the atmosphere was not right, Sakura quickly responded, "Well, let's go, I'm very tired today." In the whole team, Sakura and Yu had no entanglement. Sasuke and Naruto both regarded Yu as a goal to surpass at this time. Especially Naruto, he wanted to become stronger and then defeat Yu, let Kakashi know that he was his best student and get Kakashi's recognition. Because he was too young, Naruto felt that the reason why Kakashi favored Yu was because Yu was better than him. When he worked hard to surpass Yu, Kakashi would recognize him. Very real thoughts. Basically teenagers of this age will have similar thoughts. Several people walked in the forest, no one spoke, the atmosphere was very calm. Only the calls of birds and beasts were heard from time to time in the forest. After walking for a while, Sakura saw that the atmosphere was too tense, so she spoke first. "Sasuke and Naruto were very serious this afternoon. They mastered the control of chakra in one afternoon. What ninjutsu did you learn from Kakashi-sensei this afternoon? It must be a very powerful ninjutsu, right?" Sasuke and Naruto, who were thinking about their own things, heard Sakura's words. Although they didn't say anything, they pricked up their ears to listen. Yu casually said, "Just a few water escape ninjutsu. Are they powerful ninjutsu?" Sakura asked curiously. Yu looked at the two people who wanted to listen but pretended to be indifferent. He said calmly, "How strong can water-style ninjutsu be?" Hearing what Yu said, Xiaoying's mouth twitched slightly. "Isn't water-style ninjutsu powerful?" "The water-style ninjutsu you used to attack Zabuza that day was very powerful. If Zabuza hadn't dodged it, he would have died long ago." "Didn't it miss? Zabuza is an elite jonin like Kakashi. How could he be defeated so easily? You only saw that he was almost hit. In fact, he is still a long way from defeating him. If elite jonin were so easy to defeat, there wouldn't be only a dozen in a village. Some ninja villages don't even have more than a dozen." Yu was telling the truth. Elite jonin is a village's strategic force and can participate in the pursuit of the village's shadow. The shadow of a village is selected from the elite jonin. But it was obvious that Xiaoying and the other two didn't understand. Sakura said, "But you were really close to winning that day, and Zabuza ran away because he was afraid of you." Chapter 59. Yu smiled and said, "That's because he felt that he had no chance of winning against Kakashi and me alone. If it was just me, he couldn't run away." Sakura nodded, not quite understanding. Sasuke on the side didn't feel anything. Because he also mastered a few fire escape ninjutsu. He learned all of them based on the ninjutsu materials of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke didn't think Yu's water escape ninjutsu was much stronger than fire escape. In Sasuke's view, whether it was water escape, fire escape or earth escape, it was not a decisive ninjutsu. But Naruto was very unhappy. Because now he doesn't know any ninjutsu except the Shadow Clone Jutsu. The Shadow Clone Jutsu was learned by him when he stole the Forbidden Jutsu book when he graduated. It was not taught by Kakashi. Now Naruto has not mastered a combat ninjutsu. So Naruto curled his lips and said unhappily, Teacher Kakashi is really biased, as if we are not his students. Yu looked at Naruto, and he understood Naruto. After all, he is just a 12-year-old child now. Jealousy and other things are especially serious at this age. Actually, Teacher Kakashi hopes that you will lay a good foundation before learning ninjutsu. He is your guiding Jonin. Since you have passed his test, he really regards you as a disciple. As a teacher, he certainly doesn't want you to be too impetuous. Ask Sasuke if he mastered a lot of ninjutsu basics when he was learning ninjutsu. Sasuke was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Yu to point him out. Naruto raised his head and looked at Sasuke. Sasuke didn't want to say anything. But this is Yu's request. Although Sasuke regards Yu as a goal to surpass. But now Yu is much stronger than him, and he has not surpassed Yu yet. So Sasuke still listens to Yu in some things. Sasuke nodded. It is indeed necessary to master a lot of basic knowledge. But even if he explained, it was just one sentence. Naruto naturally didn't listen. What basic knowledge? It only took me one night to learn the shadow clone technique. Yu smiled. That's because the shadow clone technique is very suitable for you, or it is tailor-made for you. When you were in the ninja school, you didn't even master the clone technique. You didn't know it at all after 6 years of learning. How come you suddenly learned the shadow clone technique in one night? You know the shadow clone technique. Oh, by the way, why is the multiple shadow clone technique you learned a forbidden technique? Naruto looked confused. He learned the first ninjutsu he saw at the beginning. How could he know what was forbidden and what was not? Not to mention what restrictions this ninjutsu had. Sakura and Sasuke also looked at Yu. Especially Sasuke, he didn't really know how Naruto suddenly mastered the shadow clone technique. You should know that Naruto couldn't even master the clone technique before. The shadow clone technique is much more advanced than the clone technique. Yu said, that's because the shadow clone technique takes away a proportion of the main body's chakra, and after the shadow clone technique is released, the physical energy consumed by the clone will return to the main body. For ninjas with low chakra or poor physique, using the shadow clone technique is very dangerous, not to mention the multiple shadow clone technique. And you are the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, with a huge amount of chakra, and your physique is very good because of the Nine Tails, so you can withstand the disadvantages of the multiple shadow clone technique. And if you want to learn other escape techniques, if you can't master the basic knowledge, you will easily hurt yourself if you do it recklessly. The backlash of ninjutsu can really kill people, especially if you have little theoretical knowledge. In a messy situation. Why do some people need a long time to learn a ninjutsu, while others only need a few days? In addition to the difference in talent, there is also the problem of one's own foundation. In the 6 years in the ninja school, think about what you have learned. Do you think your foundation is solid? Sakura understood and laughed. Not only is it not solid, he didn't learn it at all. He always got 0 points in every exam. I don't know how he did it. He didn't even read a book. Sasuke looked at Naruto and thought to himself, it turns out that he learned the shadow clone technique because of the Nine Tails. But Sasuke didn't know much about the Nine Tails. After all, Sasuke was just born not long ago when the Nine Tails Rebellion happened. After the family was slaughtered by Uchiha Itachi, it was even more impossible for someone to tell him what the Nine Tails was. Naruto touched his belly and looked gloomy. He believed what Yu said. In fact, Naruto had gone berserk once when he was young. It was just that he was suppressed as soon as he went berserk, and he didn't do anything to the village. What impact will it have on the child? As a result, not many people in the village know about it. But Naruto knows it. Naruto knows that power very well. Although it is evil, it is indeed very powerful. Naruto looked at Yu. Why did you seal the nine-tailed fox in my body? If it weren't for the nine-tailed demon fox, the people in the village would never treat me like that. Because of the nine-tailed Jinchuriki's identity, Naruto has been excluded since he was a child. Although he is not as miserable as Kurabi and others, because he is an orphan, his emotions are very sensitive. Even if no one assassinates him or throws eggs at him, just alienation makes Naruto very uncomfortable. At this age, Naruto can't understand why the villagers reject him so much. He can only attribute everything to the nine-tailed fox in his body, and the villagers don't like him. Yu Yu patted Naruto's shoulder and explained, "The nine-tailed foxes are Konoha village's strategic weapon. In other words, you are very important to Konoha village." Naruto slapped Yu Yu's hand away. He said angrily, "But I don't want it. Since I am so important, why do people in the village reject me so much? You don't know what I have suffered over the years. People in the village treat me as a monster. No one likes me and no one recognizes me." Perhaps it was Yu Yu's words that made Naruto burst out with emotion, and he said all the grievances he had suffered over the years in one breath. He even cried. Sakura and Sasuke looked at Naruto, and at this moment they knew what kind of pressure Naruto was under. Even Sakura, who always criticized Naruto, looked at him with sympathy at this time. Sasuke had some empathy. Although he was not rejected by the people in the village, he was actually very popular among the villagers of Konoha because of his identity as a member of the Uchiha clan. But the extermination of the clan and the tragic death of his parents at the hands of his most admired brother hurt him even more than Naruto's experience. At this moment, Sasuke and Naruto had the same emotion. Sakura whispered, "Naruto, you don't have no friends, don't Uruka-sensei, Shikamaru, Choji, and Kiba all your friends? I saw you and Shikamaru playing so well together before, and I thought you just had a bad temper. I didn't expect you to have been through so much." Chapter 60. Sakura's words confused Naruto. Now he thought about it, yes, he still had so many friends. It seemed that he was not that miserable. He was just too stubborn. The villagers rejected him, but as long as his friends did not reject him, wouldn't it be fine? Seeing Naruto calm down, Yu Yu said, "Is there a possibility that the reason why the villagers hate you is not because you are the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, but because you always play pranks and often make the village a mess, so they are tired of you and reject you?" Naruto was stunned. Yu Yu's guess was not without basis. Although the people in the village were afraid of Naruto because he was the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, they were a little alienated from him. But hating him was Naruto's own problem. Naruto felt that his pranks could attract the attention of the villagers. But doing so would only aggravate the villagers' stereotype of him. It made the villagers believe that Naruto was the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, so he was also very evil. This can be proved during the Chunin exam. As long as Naruto shows his ability and does not play pranks, the villagers can accept and recognize him. Other ninja villages may really hate the Jinchuriki and even assassinate them. But Konoha village is obviously not like this. In fact, several generations of Konoha Jinchuriki rarely encounter attacks from ninjas in the same village. After all, the first Jinchuriki was the wife of the first Hokage and did not go out often. The second Jinchuriki Uzumaki Kushina is worse off than her son Naruto. Before marrying Namikaze Minato, she was always monitored by the Anbu. Even a defensive barrier was set up around her. But she was never assassinated by ninjas in the same village. Compared with Uzumaki Kushina, Naruto's situation is much better. Naruto has never encountered restrictions such as being able to move only within the barrier. From childhood to adulthood, Naruto can move freely in the village, and even graffiti on the Hokage rock was only punished by being wiped clean. This kind of punishment is definitely a cover-up by the third generation. The Hokage rock is a memorial statue representing the successive Hokage of Konoha village. Naruto's behavior is no different from dancing on someone else's grave, and this grave is a grave with extremely important symbolic significance. But the punishment for Naruto is extremely light. If it were someone else, even if he was not killed on the spot, he would be imprisoned for life. So in Yu Yu's opinion, the reason why Naruto was rejected by the villagers was mainly because his way of attracting attention was too extreme. Or it completely exacerbated the villagers' stereotype of him. Naruto didn't know what to say for a while. Think about it yourself. Originally, because you are the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, the villagers are afraid that you will go berserk and alienate you. Isn't it normal? But as long as you are not so jumpy and always play pranks, won't the villagers think that you are not so bad? Think about it. Don't Shikamaru, Iruka-sensei, Sakura and Sasuke know that you are the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. But why can they accept you? Because they have been with you for a long time and know that you will not hurt others. But the villagers don't spend much time with you, so the impression they give them at a certain moment is their entire impression of you. And everything you do at that moment is to deepen the image of you in their minds. It is very normal for them to alienate you. In fact, I think the fact that they did not beat or scold you is the simple kindness of the villagers. Listening to Yu Yu's words, Naruto was silent. Yu Yu continued, so as long as you control the nine-tailed fox in your body and turn it into the power to protect Konoha village, who would reject you? Naruto was stunned. Control the nine-tailed fox in my body. But that is the nine-tailed demon fox. How could it be controlled by humans? I don't want to have anything to do with such an evil monster. Yu Yu was speechless. That was the nine-tailed fox. The most powerful of the nine-tailed beasts. Naruto actually despised it so much. Do you know how powerful the nine-tailed demon fox in your body is? Naruto nodded. I know. After that, Naruto looked complicated. When I was a child, I remember that the power of the nine-tailed demon fox exploded once. I still remember that evil and powerful power. Yu Yu didn't expect that Naruto could still remember the feeling at that time after he went berserk. The tailed beasts are strategic weapons for every ninja village, and the Jinchuriki are also very important ninjas for every ninja village. But the Jinchuriki may be seized by the tailed beasts at any time, so villagers in each village generally worry that the Jinchuriki will go berserk, so they will naturally distance themselves from them. The Jinchuriki of other ninja villages are not having a good time either. You can move freely, which is actually much better than other Jinchuriki. It's just that the villagers are estranged from you because of fear. Some Jinchuriki of other ninja villages will even be assassinated by ninjas from the same village. Because after the Jinchuriki goes berserk, he loses consciousness and causes many casualties. People will remember the destruction of the tailed beasts on the Jinchuriki, so naturally the Jinchuriki will not be welcomed. You should know that the fourth Hokage sealed the nine tails and sacrificed himself to save Konoha village. Naruto nodded and said with respect, the fourth Hokage has always been my most admired hero, and I want to be a hero like him in the future. Yu Yu said, the fourth Hokage gave up his life to seal the nine tails in your body, why do you admire him? Naruto was stunned for a moment. He had never thought about this question. But soon, he said, but he did it for the village. Yu Yu smiled and said, in fact, the fourth Hokage sealed the nine tails in you, and he should have some expectations for you. He may hope that you can control the nine tails in your body in the future, because if you master the power of the nine tails, you will become extremely powerful, so that you will have the same power as the fourth Hokage, and you can protect the village and become the hero of the village. Naruto looked at Yu Yu and said blankly, really? Does the fourth Hokage really think so? Because this is the first time Naruto heard about his relationship with the fourth Hokage. So he was very happy. After all, he admired the fourth Hokage very much. Yu Yu nodded. If you don't think so, do you think the sealing technique he cast on you will convert the chakra leaked from the nine tails into yours? Have you never thought about why your chakra is so much more than others? Compared to people of the same age, your chakra is quite huge, even much bigger than Sasuke. Sasuke, who was listening attentively, heard Yu Yu talking about him. He was stunned for a moment. He looked at Naruto with some confusion. He didn't know that Naruto had more chakra than him. Naruto himself didn't know, really? Do I really have more chakra than Sasuke? Naruto was very happy. After all, he always regarded Sasuke as his opponent. Naruto was naturally very happy to hear that his chakra was actually more than Sasuke.